Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome to TraderTV.Live. North American stock futures bouncing back in a big way this morning in positive territory as investors continue to watch the 10-year Treasury yield coming off once again today. We saw last week the Treasury 10-year yield get up to 1.6% before retreating back to about 1.4% on Friday. We're in that same kind of area this morning. So a little more positivity surrounding vaccine news today as well. We saw the Center for Disease Control Advisory Board in the U.S. voting in favor of the Johnson & Johnson one-shot COVID-19 vaccine over the weekend for 18 years and older, or use on 18 years and older. Overall, the three major U.S. indexes in negative territory on the week last week. We had the Dow down about 1.7%, the S&P 2.5%. The NASDAQ in that area as well. Individually this morning, meme stocks back in focus, led by AMC this morning. A little bit of a reopen play there as well. AMC having quite the move here in the pre-market. We'll talk about those stocks once again. Travel names in general higher, although both RCL and NCLH out with offerings this morning. So two of the cruise lines in negative territory. And Bitcoin, 5% back to the upside. We're seeing some of the crypto stocks showing some positivity. It's Monday, March 1st, 2021. TraderTV.Live starts now. There we go. Look at Asian markets from the overnight session. You can see nicely positive here right across the board. Just Korea ending the day to the downside. Let's go over to Europe and see how things are shaping up. 1+% for the most part right across the board. Turkey having quite the day, 2.2%. Let's shift over one more time. Have a look at, more positivity. You can see here NASDAQ, the Dow, the S&P, all 1+% to the upside in the pre-market here. TSX futures here in Toronto, about 0.6%. Look at Bitcoin, 5.5% to the upside, back above 47,000 this morning, both crude oil and gold as well. About that 1% mark to the upside. Good morning, guys. It is Monday. It's haircut day around here. And also, Valeria, I don't know, Robbie, can we show V right away? V has pink hair. As promised, there it is. Everyone's going to be very happy, so we'll show Valeria and her pink hair as much as we can today. Good morning, guys. It's Monday. It's a busy start to the week once again this morning. Bitcoin bouncing. We have travel stocks bouncing. All is right in the world again, I guess.
I mean, come on now. Miss V with the pink hair. Everything, well, I shouldn't say everything is to the upside, but certainly a positive note to the market after all that Treasury nonsense last week. Had some pullback in there, and I think everyone's going to like it. It's 10,000 like day. If we don't get to that, Miss V looking fantastic. I'm looking like Jean-Luc Picard or Michael Jordan, whichever one you like, as the bald head. But there's going to be a lot to look at today. We're not actually done earnings. There's a few that are going to be coming through the rest of this week. It's a big month because at some point we're going to get that Coinbase IPO, direct listing, I should say. So I'm pretty excited, especially to start out today. I think a lot of those crypto names we've been watching should be very, very interesting. That SOS, which also had a short seller attack it last week, already pretty active, Sean.
Yeah, welcome, guys. Welcome to the show. And yeah, I've tweeted out already here. We talked about some crypto last night on my Twitter feed, and that we were buying some of those dips. So it's nice to see today, a little bit of a rebound. So that's good. Yeah, pink hair, bald, everything's going good on this side of things. I have nothing different with me. Palantir and AMC, the same thing, only different today. And then also, guys, DraftKings, as we notice here, I'll just show you the board here quickly. Here's Palantir, 800,000. Oh, and we were just on DraftKings. I want to show you that one. A very nice move up side as well. As a lot of the growth stocks today back into play, we're still going to wait to see what happens on Friday. See if that jobs number signals any sort of inflation or any kind of worries about that. But right now, DraftKings up 3%, Palantir up 5 or 6%, AMC running as well. Look, it's going to be a good day. We've got CCL. We've got a lot of things on our mind. It's going to be a good week. I have a feeling here, Brendan.
Yeah, Morgan Stanley busy this morning with the upgrades and downgrades, both DraftKings and Palantir as well. A couple of analysts making moves on Palantir. We showed it already, but let's go right over to the desk and say good morning to Valeria.
Good morning, Brendan, and hi, guys. I wish you a great start of this trading week. Enjoy the show, and please hit thumbs up if you like my new pink hair. Let's get it started, Brendan.
Let's get it started by having a look at how traders here at Day Trade the World fared back on Friday. Big day here on Friday for Day Trade the World. You can see multiple six-figure numbers here coming out of, again, a whole wide range of markets, some Canadian content in here, basically all of the U.S. markets as well. You can see same story number 2 there, 108,096, NASDAQ in New York, 35 then. Big jump there down to number 4, NASDAQ New York, some Canadian content at number 5 as well. So more opportunities in this market. Volatility remains day traders' friends. So let's talk about where we're going to find some opportunities today. Positive news out over the weekend as far as vaccines are concerned. I mean, this was expected, I think, as far as Johnson & Johnson is concerned. The Center for Disease Control Advisory Panel in the U.S. voting in favor of 18 plus guys getting the J&J one-shot COVID-19 vaccine. Is this news at this point, or do we just trade the sentiment?
Well, I mean, it's news. I don't know for J&J or anything like that, but it's certainly recovery, positive for the recovery and bullish in that regard. That's probably why AMC is leading the meme stocks. That's why you had RCL and Norwegian with offerings today, and both were looking to be trading up. CCL is actually trading up, so I think the recovery is still going to be in play. Is it going to move the needle for Johnson & Johnson? I mean, probably not. That's been the case for the last little bit. Actually, it became official. AstraZeneca getting rid of their selling their Moderna stake there, but this is really, like I said, it's going to be about recovery. You already see over 1.33 million shares done in CCL, up 3.5%. And believe me, RCL last I checked was flat, and it would have been up had it not been for the offering. They're taking advantage of the opportunity there with the latest little run that we've had to sort of beef up their balance sheet, and it makes a heck of a lot of sense to do so. So I think that's how we treat this news. It's a continuation of that theme, and the airlines are on the move as well.
Yeah, watch out for Boeing. We've been talking about Boeing for a very long time. I think it's definitely worth a buy at any of these levels. So Boeing continues to make moves higher. I did like CCL as well. But Boeing, yeah, this is just a daily chart. Bouncing off this 211 has been absolutely fantastic. We're already into Palantir here. What else is new? Again, basing out at the bottom, $23. You know, we took some hits trying to go long. Palantir's actually been one of my best stocks last week, believe it or not. Even though we've just been dumping, we have picked up some good levels, and they've held pretty much every time, like 23, 24. Today we'll look to see if it's holding the same thing, but we're already in right now, 23.33 on a little bit of a break here, just using this 25 as a bottom, and then we'll see if that can hold as well. But Palantir's another name. And then you mentioned AMC. I mean, look, AMC is one of those names where I was saying to you guys before, a couple weeks ago, even last week as well, that I thought that this little bottom was probably somewhat legit because remember, we had 2 to 3 as the bottom, and then the recovery started happening more and more. We had good positive news out of New York stating that they're going to start opening up some of the movie theaters. And so people going back there, $5, $6 seemed like a reasonable low. And then now you get up to 10. I don't know if now I think we're a little bit over it. But with GameStop moving around and AMC moving around as well, this is going to be a trade today. So I wrote down some AMC love at 9.25. See if we break that. That's about as high as we got. And then on the daily chart, the same thing. On the minute chart, $9 looks pretty good. So yeah, we're looking at a bunch of different names here. It should be an exciting one. And looking for those 10,000 likes. Why not? People loving Valeria, your pink hair. A lot of positive comments here.
There are a lot of movies still sitting on the sidelines as well, waiting for release to come, or an opportunity for release to come. Top Gun, the next Bond movie, still in delay because of the pandemic, obviously. So a little bit more catalyst as far as news is concerned surrounding AMC today. Let's bring in Mark Roberts, president of Sun Lake Strategies, and have a chat. Mark, good morning. On another week, it is a busy Monday to start. I'll ask you the same question here. You know, this J&J news, to be expected, obviously at the end of last week, it was pretty much, a done deal that this was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. I mean, as the guys were saying here, sentiment, yes, it's positive for the overall reopen type of trade. As far as J&J is concerned, what are you thinking?
I think it's a buy down here. I think Friday was effectively a liquidity sale. Merck is another name, not a COVID-19 vaccine type of name, but they pounded just about every stock in the mega high cap area on liquidity. And this is the time to pick up some rather inexpensive names on a relative year-to-date basis.
So when it comes to the the reopen play, as we talk about, do we look at travel names? I saw some of the hotels were higher in the pre-market this morning, and even the retail space. I mean, an opportunity as well.
Absolutely, you've hit it right on the head. Marriott, MAR, is on my buy list, looking for the right level. Cruise lines, I'm still not there yet. Airlines, I'm still in a big way. And I think the Disneys of the world, anything that's going to show reopening on a scheduled basis, in other words, 25, 35, 50, that kind of thing. The retailers, it's a little iffy. I'm watching Walmart, watching LOW, watching some of these names because they got pounded very, very hard. Their comps are going to be difficult going forward. Investors are not warming up to these because they think they may have a problem making numbers in the next quarter. Don't forget, COVID was an easy situation for the online. Now the question is, will people go back into the stores?
And Walmart as well. I saw your note that you sent to us this morning. Appreciate that. Once again, Mark, on Walmart, saying that the $35 minimum purchase price for free delivery on their premium service, a thing of the past. Does that matter?
That matters, but also there was a hidden note in the news over the weekend. They scooped up two major fintech gentlemen out of Goldman Sachs, looking to be the Walmart bank of the future. Walmart is moving aggressively into that consumer area.
So when it comes to let's talk about earnings here. I mean, we're getting kind of to the end of earnings reporting season. What's going to be the catalyst going forward over the next couple of weeks as far as the overall market is concerned? We have the jobs number coming up on Friday, as Sean was mentioning earlier. Outside of that, though, what's going to really drive the ship here?
I hate to say it, it's in one word: guidance and visibility. If I look back, and this is a number off the top of my head, I'm going to say around 80-85% of the companies that have reported have given you effectively no guidance for 21 or 22. If you start seeing these companies come out and updating investors with a little bit of guidance, especially in the industrial space, that's a home run.
Hey, Mark, how are you doing on this lovely Monday? It's about 1 degree Celsius here. What's it like on the East Coast?
Well, the 44 inches of snow we got is melting quickly.
Okay.
Because we've had rain for the last 48 hours.
Perfect. Well, I guess that's good and bad, I guess. We were out on a hike with the family there, and it was a little wet, that's for sure. Okay, I just want to talk to you quickly before we let you go. What's your thoughts? Tonight we have NIO reporting, of course, the Chinese electric car company, and it's been a nice one for our viewers. A lot of people love the volume. Obviously, it's 1.5 million shares today. We're up that 6%. Brendan mentioned it earlier about inflation talk. I'm a little nervous about Friday because I feel like if the job market is better, then inflation talk will once again creep in. We've seen what happened with some of the bonds, and then of course that hits some of these high growth names like a NIO. But if I look here on the daily chart, and I did want to talk about Walmart, so I don't want to let you go without doing that again. But NIO's all the way down here at some of these key levels. We don't talk too much about these names. Sometimes we'll talk about Tesla and whatnot, but you have any love, and we talk about Ford and GM, what do you think about these Chinese car companies? Would you rather stick with something that we know a little bit more, like a Tesla, like a GM, like a Ford? Or are we at levels right now that I think we could start buying? I'll give that to you. And also remember, obviously, earnings tonight. Do you stay away so it's kind of a two-part question. One, what do we think of NIO maybe in the next 3 to 6 months? The second thing I want to talk about is, what about buying it ahead of earnings? Is that something you recommend to clients, or do you wait to see the results?
The problem with the Chinese companies in general is A, funding, and B, cheap dollars. I'm not sure how to read into their earnings. So in this particular case, I'd step aside until after earnings. Right. The chart pattern tells me that it looks like a buy for a trade. But I'd rather stick to the GM, Fords,
Me too.
Teslas of the world.
Yeah, me too. I mean, Ford is still hanging out upside, right? It's still, if my chart will load, we still are up at that $12 range. So I think that that's a very, very reasonable level. And I think you got a lot of protection downside, 1140, 1150, even the 11 area for Ford. I think you're right there if you want to hold your money close. So Target versus Walmart. You want to do this debate a little bit here? Target, the chart on Target looks basically, I mean, it looks similar to Walmart, but nowhere near as drastic. We're at the high 195, let's call it that. Let's call it 200. So we're only back down to 186. You see, this is back down to its 50-period moving average. They report this week as well. And then you look at Walmart, which you just talked about with Brendan a little bit here. And this name, although interesting about the e-commerce, look what's happened to Walmart here, down to 130. Like this to me, Mark, I mean, would you rather, let's play a little would you rather here to copy one of our friends. Would you rather put new money to work right now at these low levels of Walmart, clearly underperforming, clearly some underlying issues with Walmart as opposed to Target? But what do you like better here? Walmart for new money or Target for new money?
I'm going to take a risk and say Target for new money. It reports tomorrow before the opening.
Yeah.
It may have the same problems as Walmart. Walmart, as I said earlier, is aggressively going into that consumer banking area. That may help it quite a bit, but that's not something that's going to happen tomorrow. So I would have to delve in and say Target.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, it's hovering right around this 50-period moving average. That's normally an area that I like. One more thing, and we're just going to give you an opportunity here, maybe one name to look at today that we haven't discussed or one that you had hoped to dig down a little bit deeper for. Was there anything today? I'm looking at DraftKings as well. Palantir is obviously going to be on the minds of a lot of our traders. GameStop, AMC. Is there a name that perhaps you think might be a little undercover or something that you think day traders like us that'll make multiple trades a day need to look at today? Is there a name you can give us?
3 names, actually.
Perfect.
I'm looking at Oracle. It's been in the news. It's being aggressive against its cloud members or competitors. The housing market still really strong, even though inventory is weakening because everybody's been running to the pre-COVID buy. So Toll Brothers, TOL,
Yep.
in the home builder, and LOW in the improvement retail.
Tolls, Lowe's, and then the other one you gave was Oracle. Perfect. Mark Roberts, Sun Lake Strategies, thank you so much, my friend. We will see you again on Wednesday. Good luck with everything today. Stay safe. And once again, thank you from all of our viewers.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, let's talk about a couple of names here, guys, that we haven't mentioned yet. DraftKings briefly, but I want to talk about this CorMedix. I sent out this note earlier this morning. CorMedix shares still halted. They were halted in the pre-market. It was an FDA review of one of their products, a catheter lock, apparently. The FDA has come back saying they require more data on this. So CRMD. Still halted at this point, but looks like that's going to end negatively. Let's talk about DraftKings here as well, guys. Catching an upgrade from Morgan Stanley. I guess it was a price target increase, 66 price target from $60 from Morgan Stanley on DraftKings. Wasn't terribly active in the pre-market here, but more positivity for DraftKings today.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously, DraftKings has already made a bounce off like 56, 57 area. There was ample opportunity to get into a host of names on a pullback if DraftKings was your one, whether it was GAN, maybe even, I wouldn't say Score, actually. But the key thing for us here now this week, and I say this with a little trepidation because breakouts have been a mixed bag, I want to say, when it comes to DraftKings. But you are looking at that 65 high, and we're probably going to get there at some point this week. We're going to be staring that in our face. It's a double top here back from February, and then you go into fall of last year. So it's an interesting level. It's one that we're going to have to watch. It's probably DraftKings is the type of stock that's not likely to be a fade in front for me. It's not, it's not moving parabolically into that level. It's not going to have a ridiculous amount of volume usually going into it for that little scalp trade. So it's really more about a momentum break when it finally gets through that high. I mean, the chart looks fantastic. The story is absolutely great. I mean, I was literally reading a cool article about like digital trading cards in the NBA in the future, and you look at, and then you also look at just the sports that are the most popular right now, and I think the ones that have the most growth, and I'm talking about the NBA and I'm talking about the NFL, and then you get into that esports as well, and DraftKings is just really positioned to take advantage of this in the long term. Of course, shed a tear for my favorite sport, baseball, Sean.
Look, man, I mean, I've been recommending, and we've actually did a couple shows, a couple specials here as well for you guys, for our members and stuff like that. And my number one stock to buy into weakness was DraftKings, and I've done that. We did that last week. We were buying into weakness here, and now DraftKings is my largest holding in my swing account, but I've been loaded up for the last couple months. You know, we really loved it. My average price is 37 and change. We've been loading it up down here. We averaged in up here as well. And now we're going to take out some of the top. So look, we love DraftKings. I love DraftKings on this side of things. And I just think it keeps on working to the high side. There's Penn as well. There's SCR in here in Toronto, which is the score. There's a couple other ones, GAN and whatnot, a couple of different names. But look, I mean, I like DraftKings. I don't know if there's any sort of like significant news. I mean, that upgrade obviously is a good one there, Brendan, but I don't really look at it like that. We'll just see what it does here, taking out the top 63.50. Pretty good volume, 176,000. Look, I like DraftKings for the long, and I like it if you can get it back into here into the 60s. Again, the VWAP's misleading because we're all the way up here due to pre-market, but I still think you have 62, 61.50 area. We could be on for a sell-off here off the open, so I think that you got to try to find some stronger names just in case things do rebound to the downside, and I like a 61.50 pickup here on DraftKings. I don't think you're wrong if you do invest a little bit of cash into this name.
All right, saw Bitcoin, guys, 8% now, back above 48,000 for BTC. Upgrades and downgrades, couple of names we were talking about last week. Micron down here, $110 price target from Barclays. Plug Power's on the watch list this morning. We'll talk about Plug. Spirit Aerosystems, Sean mentioned Boeing. Yeah, nice price target increase here from Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley very busy on this side of things today as far as upgrades and downgrades goes. This Technip FMC price target 880. Morgan Stanley downgrades. Kodiak and Remax on here as well, guys.
Yeah, I mean, Spirit Aerosystems is an interesting one because I think if I mean, you might have a little more upside at this point with Boeing, and you know I've been a believer since last year as well. But Spirit sort of gives you that. And not the Spirit you guys were thinking of, SPR. Of course, it's not Spirit Airlines, guys. SPR gives you that secondary look there at that space without some of the Boeing risk, I think, if you want to even call it that. I do want to quickly just jump to, because we like to try to talk about positions as well. And on our watch list is ECOR. You're going to see me in position here. Of course, my quote board not showing it for some reason, so I'll just go to it manually here. I did start shorting this one off of this 310 to 315 area. It was previous support here, right about 310, 312, and then popped up several times. It's now starting to head back in. This is a simple one of those, look, gap up retracement style plays here. And you know, overall, it is good news. Microcap medical device maker here. But anytime I see this, you go into the daily chart, gap into previous highs. 1, 2, 3, and then today again, and then a hard fail off that when positive news finally comes in. Yeah, so I'm basically fading off of these levels here, and these were resistance points throughout all of last week. So it's failed on multiple resistance points. So just a bit of a momentum short. The only difference with this particular trade is close at 217. I wouldn't put that as an ultimate target. I think it's more reasonable to look at these clusters in here around 275, 280, and then think this is going to be a more shallow. Like 10% would be fantastic on this. I don't think it's going to give back the dollar.
All right, just getting out of some Palantir ahead of 50. We're long 33. I mean, it's just right now it's a 12-cent win, but we're hoping for a little bit more, but that's my early trade here, Palantir. As we go on, today's the first day, guys, that you got to head over to our website. I actually don't, here it is, I have it up right now. Watch list, you can get it all right here. Oops, this is the old one. This is our one from Friday Beyond Meat there. Here it is, meme stocks, travel stocks. We're going to go through all these guys. Palantir, crypto, we're going to throw it back to Brennan, Fisker, Neo, Plug. They're all on here, but make sure, guys, it's our members area. It's a special area, all locked up. Go Pack, go.
Right on top. That's a good look. If you haven't done so already, guys, that's the link that you need to go to and make sure you register for the new website. Yeah, the watch list has its own home now that we will be able to just put it up every single morning. You don't have to worry about receiving an email at any point throughout the morning before we come on. There we go. wasn't shutting off there for a second. I want to show you one more of these before we get into what is actually moving around. That is the wrong one. Both of my buttons, guys, are on the same one. But we did a video, is my point, back on Friday on Plug Power. We were just talking about Plug Power. Go over to Market Wisdom. There was a great trade on Friday that we talked about in Plug Power, so check that video out. But yeah, let's jump into what is moving around this morning in the pre-market. We mentioned, guys, the first one on the list going to be the meme stocks group once again. AMC, though, you know, almost kind of has its own category here with the reopen angle to this. There's more positivity surrounding AMC in a big way outside of the rest of these. Yes, GME is higher on the morning, but nowhere near as high as AMC.
I want to do a little something different here because obviously we're going to talk about AMC and show you an AMC chart because that makes a lot of sense. But I just want to show you Kodak if I can. For a minute. Everyone remembers what happened here, Kodak back in July, yada, yada, yada. They got that, changed their business, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, when that squeeze was done and sort of things came back to normal, it made a base at about like 550. And I remember at that time there was, and oddly enough, you know, I heard Sean saying $7 in AMC, and I've seen that number bandied about for fair value. Around that same number was thrown out there back with Kodak. And it made a bottom at about 550 and it held. And then it would have these little squeezes and then put in a higher support level, 630. And then another little bounce up, and then a higher support level at $8. What I'm kind of getting at here is, it wouldn't be crazy to me if AMC had a similar pattern, right? So if the current levels, and you know, I'll go to the chart over here now so you guys can take a quick look at it. But if these current levels that we've been holding here, and the first one is that like 550, 540 area. If that turns into next level being like a 6 or a 7, and that hasn't happened yet because it hasn't really calmed down, that wouldn't really surprise me. So I'm looking for the next little sideways level here. I'm not necessarily thinking this is going to run us to $11 today, but crazier things have happened. But if it starts to do that same thing where it levels off again, and gives you a few days of calm at one of these, you know, it was 550 before, but it's at a higher low, I think you want to look to consider swing buying into it, just looking at Kodak. There's more juice to this than there was Kodak. So if a similar pattern emerges, I think it's going to be an interesting play. I haven't really seen that type of consolidation yet, but you got to file it away. Like AMC is not GameStop. And I think it's important to sort of say that yes, I know they're moving together, but certainly AMC has at least a little bit more of a shot to have some more structured trading going on and not just sort of, you know, and we'll do it. Sort of the big time intraday momentum swings here and there. Those are fantastic, but there might be some other little swing opportunities we can start discussing with AMC.
So here's Trade Ideas. Shout out to Trade Ideas for what they do. And we're just going to give a quick little look here for AMC. You can see here, I'm just calling it up. So what I'm doing here is this is just a single stock window brought to you by Trade Ideas, and they have a short float here. It often rhymes with Brendan's up there with Icon and some of the other ones. So AMC there, I think that's gone up actually, 13.61. I believe it was 11 and change last week. So we have not GME, hashtag, whatever that was. Short float for GameStop, you can see here. We're right in the middle. We're looking at this number, guys. So short float right there, 30%. My Rocket, which seems to be doing much better today, or it seems to be doing okay. Not loading, but okay. So thank you for that. We will get that back, but I don't know where that went. But Rocket, still there, yeah, I don't know. All right, we'll find it out, but it's not loading right now. Rocket's still one of those names that are shorted well, and I do like Rocket today. We did have a problem at that 24 level. We're up to 22 and change, up that 3%. We did drop down a little bit. Remember, we got that special dividend of $1 and change, so that's coming through as well. So we do like Rocket Mortgage. And then AMC, Neil, you just touched on it. I prefer it a little bit better than GameStop for no real reason. But other than the fact that there's some decent liquidity there, it doesn't halt nearly as much as GameStop. And then here, this is a 20-minute chart. I kind of like this area, 920. Not only was it the top today, but we did have it being the top on, I guess that's Friday, Thursday. That was the top before we, you know, I mean, it was basically the bottom that we broke downside and never came back. So I like that 920. If they like AMC, they got to break through this 920. I wrote down on the list here today that we would defend 8. You can see the top there. 925 or look to defend this $8 area. There's obviously a lot of action in this area. So $7.75 on the bottom, $8. We'll look to see what it can do there. So I'll be trading AMC today. It's not going to be like a love affair with it, like sometimes we can get hooked up onto some of these things. But right now, quickly look at the imbalance locator before we throw it back. There it is, Palantir, AMC, CCL, NEO. So yeah, all 4 stocks that we've already covered a little bit here today, all looking good. So there we go. We got the names for you, and they're all buys. There's not even a sell on this side. NASDAQ up 1.3%. This is the rebound day, man. It was great to open up the portfolio this morning and just see like tick, 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 like everything upside right now. So we'll see, but that's kind of makes me a little nervous. I think it's almost too good to be true.
All right, let's bring in Arun here. We'll have a look at the overall market and talk about levels on the futures that we need to be aware of. We obviously came off significantly both Thursday and then again on Friday. Going back to last week, we're back to the top end of that range, though, Arun, that we mentioned. You know, the end of the day on Thursday, and then it seemed to be resistance on Friday. What do we need to be aware of today?
Yeah, you know, it's that 60 level, that 3860 that we had marked off that we're working with from Friday. So that is the top end of the range we are working in here. It seems like there's a decent amount of buying below, all the way down to 40. So, you know, what I did earlier in the day here this morning, I went just underneath 50. I decided to take a long against this resistance. It's a highly dangerous trade. In terms for the way I was looking at it, it was low enough of a risk with high enough of probability, low enough of a probability, but if it breaks the top, then you're gonna run on the stop. So that is the play that I am doing. It is a high risk trade though. So just under 50, if you can get that opportunity and it sets up, the timing has to be right, it has to set up properly, which is what I did earlier, all the way down to 40. So just underneath 50, trying to look for that break of that 60. Now, the only reason I did that is because there just might be enough to quietly get up there and go right through. But I am tightly managing this trade because the probability is more likely to happen. It is more likely to find resistance up here and come back down. That is what is most likely to happen. But at the same time, if you get that break to the upside, you will have a run on stops. And once, let's just say it does break to the top end, right? The first break is going to be most likely going to be stops. So I want to see what happens if we break and we come back underneath. So if we can actually break the 60, come back in and actually stay above 60 after we check down below 60 a few times, then I think you have enough support there to actually play that 40 level and look for an expansion of the trade. But I would be careful with how that 60 breaks. And this is one reason why I decided to kind of go against it. Again, you got to do the risk reward ratios. If it sets up properly, then you take that shot. But for now, 60 on the top end, 40 on the bottom, whichever breaks, that is a simple trade. You take the breakout as long as it sets up and, you know, settles in above or below both of those levels.
Great stuff. Thanks so much, Arun. We'll check back in again tomorrow morning. Guys, we are under 30 minutes before we get the market open here. Just want to update this CRMD. We talked about it earlier. Core Medics. Yeah, just reopened, was halted, as I mentioned. FDA coming out saying that they need more information for one of their products. So ugly. We were at 15 in the pre-market, just bounced off $6 for this CRMD. So lots of volume coming into that one. Let's continue along with everything else that's moving. We mentioned it with Mark. Travel stocks back in focus again this morning. You got to kind of remove RCL, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian from the cruise lines. You don't have to remove them, but they both came out with offerings this morning. So bucking the trend a little bit for RCL and NCLH. Everything else, though, pretty strong here, guys.
Yeah, just double checking to make sure. Yeah, RCL down 2%. We did mention CCL up that 4%. Now, in terms of levels that we're going to be watching, just to quickly show you the daily chart here, we're already in the midst of that like ongoing break through that like 26 level. We're sort of marching towards that 30. I mean, all I wrote down here was a 25.80 to 26, and that's going to be like a support base that I want to make sure I have filed away for the entire week. And I always tend to look at these little breaks that it's a decent one, but don't get me wrong, like it didn't exactly march towards that 30 very quickly. So I do anticipate at some point this week you might actually have a bit of a dip. And if we do get 25.80 to 26 even, that's where I'd be looking to pick it up. All that being said, I'm looking for initially the breakout today. I always like to have in the back of my mind, if things don't go the way you think, what's your alternate plan there? So 28.40 is the current pre-market high. I like a 28.50 break a heck of a lot better. I would prefer to be looking for that little dip buy, if only because I tend to win a higher percentage there. And usually we'll use more shares when we're doing that little dip buy. So ideally that's going to be the case, but beggars can't be choosers. As with all breakout trades, I always look to get a bunch of shares out initially. So if it comes right at the open, you're looking to take some shares off and then anticipate that it might dip back in. But I'm going to look for that break on CCL. I would have been trading actually RC. Royal actually like the chart on Royal if they hadn't done the offering, but that sort of threw a wrench in the plans. CCL does more volume anyways, though.
Yeah, exactly. I like CCL. I mean, I can't believe RCL was $15 back in March. I mean, some of these stocks now it's 100, right? So good name there. Look, I've been pounding the pavement with Boeing. We did buy some on Friday down here, 212. I think it was 214 or so that we got involved with late in the day around here when we thought it was maybe breaking higher. But nice little win for us today. So we'll do a backflip on Boeing after buying some of that late in the afternoon on Friday. Yeah, you can see it starting to rip up, man. This is my reopen play. I think it's safe. I think it's protected. I think the downside is already in on this stock, and hopefully they can get some more planes up in the air and keep going, man. I mean, I like Boeing for the longer haul. I think if you're not in this name, you're going to regret it. It's not as sexy as some of these other names. You're not going to see this flying, although... I didn't mean to say flying there. You're not going to see this flying 10% plus on days that you'll see some of these other names. But I just think Boeing here, that you got UAL, I saw more orders for planes today, UAL. And then I still think, and we talked about this as well, they see Jim Cramer on the screen here, and he believes the same thing, and it's where I got it from, that China is going to eventually give some sort of a olive branch outside here to the U.S. at some point anyways, and make a big order here with Boeing. And I love these levels, man. 218, 219. We'll look to see if we can get Boeing back down to 217 today. But I mean, on a chart, or sorry, this is I was just looking to see if it was on the bounce locator. It is not. But on a daily chart here, man, Boeing just continues to be right here. It's right at that 200 period moving average, 50 period moving average. Love that. Love this little dip down to 210, 208. If we just break above right where we are right now, man, 221, 220 and change, I think Boeing takes off from here. So that's my replay opening stock is Boeing, but I do like CCL, especially at that 2650 level if we can get there.
All right, let's go to Palantir next, guys. Moving around in the pre-market, very active once again as far as volume is concerned. Shares are coming off their worst weekly performance since going public back in September. So looking for a bouncer, guys. There's no real significant news again this morning on Palantir. A couple of analysts making adjustments to price targets, things of that nature, but very positive in the pre-market.
It is very positive, and I'm not shaving my eyebrows for, there was like a little comment in there in the chat. We have lots of fun here, but I don't know how many likes we'd have to get for that. Interestingly enough, I see Sean, you already in position. Anytime I see these little things happening in a pre-market chart at 25.45, I mean, part of it feels like a bit of a trap. Like a level like this, normally, if it was the even, Palantir gapping up, certainly I like it for the buy side today. And I would be all over just taking this as a breakout trade if this was 25.50. I just feel like it might be a little bit fool's gold. It's going to be hard not to get involved for this. You've already, and I like to pick these numbers because I just like math. So when you look at this 22.50 little bottom that Palantir has had, and it's like a double, triple bottom, whatever you want to call it, you go 10% up from there and see what you get, and you're going to get just under that 25 mark, which essentially has turned into that support level that we have. So breaking out from support makes sense to me. I mean, it's random, but 25.45 does stick out. I like the 50 a heck of a lot better for a break. You got to be looking at that 25 as a bit of defense. Just don't forget what happened last time it consolidated around that price. Palantir had no troubles breaking that support level time and time again, going 5 or 10 pennies. And then sort of coming back, and then you did have 25 as a bit of resistance if you go back into Thursday when you had that massive drop. So 25 is a key price area. Unless there's like a million shares there or some ridiculous number on the bid, I wouldn't have a hard line at 25 even. It's more of an area that you can have a stop as that support. But yeah, that 25.45 is interesting at the top here. I don't know if it's an iceberg order because I wasn't watching it closely enough though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think even. Yeah, I didn't get there. I don't think 25.50. But 45. Yeah, I got some out at 45 off my 33 long. But okay, so I actually just wrote down that this thing could drop. I mean, I am expecting a little bit of a drop off open here on the market, just in general, just to see if we can't, test back down here. I know it's not that far away. It's only 30 points on the NASDAQ, but I do think, and again, I missed some of those levels that Arun was talking about there, but 13,040, we could retest to the downside, and Palantir would be one that I do want to pick up. We know about Cathie Wood. We know about ARK. They bought another 4 million or so shares in total for a couple of their different funds on Friday. Look, Palantir continues to be a longer-term play. I keep talking about that. I hope you guys are listening. I'm picking some up every single time we've been down. I picked some up again last week. The average price now, I've been averaging up. My first entry was in the $9 range. Now we're averaged up, and we're in the $16 range now, and just gaining more momentum. I like the play. I think that we have to look to see what happens down here. I don't know if it drops to 24 even, but I think that you could start hopefully getting some in the 40s and 50s of 24. That's $1 down now. I understand that. I am long right now. I think a 25.50 break. That's what we wrote down. But I wrote down on here also that we had a question mark with the 24. There it is. Right. I mean, the thing's low today with the 24 level. So I haven't shown the sticky note here today because there's not too much on it. It's AMC, CCL, and Palantir. It's because I'm nervous about what the market's going to do. So I want some of these names to come back in, and I think Palantir could be one of those. Again, when you get stocks that have high opening imbalances, often they get influenced early, which is what's happening now. And then as the market comes closer to 9:30, you'll see Palantir dip down would be my guess. As this starts to get paired off a little bit, some of the excitement goes away from this market on open order. And it's just weird because as it gets closer, I tend to see that this stock will probably fade down. We've seen that happen in NEO before. NEO's right here. We will talk about that soon. But I like Palantir. I like it near 25 even. I like it even better in the mid 24s.
All right, let's talk about crypto stocks. We're seeing Bitcoin kind of struggling here a little bit with 48,000. So we'll see what happens once we get equities opened as well. But up significantly, about 8%, depending on how you look at it this morning. So, I mean, take your pick here, guys. We have obviously Mara, Riot, there's that Silvergate, there's MSTR. Interesting tweet from the CEO over the weekend from MSTR. But positive, though, this entire group.
Yeah, maybe maybe he should be a poet instead of I don't know. Well, let's read the quote. Why not? Each Bitcoin is a block of sunlight encrypted in the key of life. I don't have that kind of a way with words, but that's a fantastic little quote there. Have fun with it. Brennan, I want to go with SOS here, and simply just because there was that Hindenburg report. It's also 8 million shares in the pre-market, so Hindenburg comes out. Of course, this always happens after the stock has been cut in half, right? So you get that short sell report last week. Already under a little bit of pressure. The bounce, I think a lot of this, or at least some of this gap back to the upside, of course, is that you did have some of a rebound from that 4,300. So we are up technically on Bitcoin here, even though we're below that 50,000 mark. And I think if there's a rollover, this has two troubles here. Like one, you have the short seller report weighing in on it. It was already trending to the downside anyways. Concerns that they maybe aren't even buying the rigs they're talking about and that their headquarters, is questionable. But anyways, I digress there. The real thing is it's a double whammy. If we turn around and Bitcoin heads to the downside, and these guys are already under pressure, this is going to be the one that I want to jump into the short. So if I'm playing any kind of weakness in Bitcoin, it's going to be an SOS because it's got certainly more dragging it down than the rest. I think as all short sell reports go, if it holds what I think is usually like the first support, so call it this little bounce in the afternoon, like a 520, which was also that pre-market low. If it manages to hold that all day today, usually that second, third day after the report, you get a bit of a bounce in the stock. But for now, I'll play this one to the south side if there's a big drop in Bitcoin.
Okay, so I just tweeted out, or I just put it on the chat here, guys. You can follow it. Please click on that Twitter link there in the chat. And look, this was me yesterday. It was actually over 50 comments, 69 likes. Look at this time yesterday, 11:30 a.m. Just following the crypt. This is me debating putting more capital to work at these levels, guys. That was yesterday at noon, right? Following it. I don't sleep around here, guys. So and you go, I know it's at noon, but we're still looking at these markets as my kids play on the Oculus. Look at this level. This is where I tweeted it out, guys, yesterday. So here, I'll put the tweet. I'll put my follow in there. You guys can comment on that link as well if you want. But this is where I tweeted it out. Let's think about getting some more crypto, guys. Okay, welcome to 10%. So right there, fire off the hot dogs, man. We picked some up down here, 43, 44,000. It was literally at 11. I mean, I can't make this up, right? I mean, this is the timestamp right here, 11:30 a.m. yesterday. We talked about it, and I have over 50 responses and comments on this one. We talked about buying crypto down at these levels, 44, 45. I was saying load up if it gets to 38, 39, but there it is right there. That's the call, time stamped on my Twitter feed, and now you're reaping the benefits. Needless to say, my wife actually looked over to me, and it was 11:30. I don't know what we were doing, but she looks over to me and she's like, "You're really tweeting about crypto right now?" And I was like, "Hey, keep the people happy. Let's go. We got some trade ideas." So there it is, 44,000 up to 48. So that's a nice smooth little. I mean, that's 4,000 on 48, 44. So a nice little 10% move to the upside there if you followed some of those tweets. But congratulations, anybody in this one. Obviously, Cardano still remains to be high, and so does Ether. I'm just going to say it. We can just look at whatever stocks you want. I'm going to stick with what's been working, and I just think that you got to look at this name here. It's BTC.BB. It's the Bitcoin Trust in Canada here. You could do .U if you wanted to get some Bitcoin in US funds. Obviously, it's traded on the TSX, so you got to watch out for that. It's not down 100%, but we will wait to see where this goes, man. Look, 892, I guess, close on Friday-ish, 880, 890, wherever. We're going to open 970 right now. So I would say watch BTCC.B if you're interested. And thank you for the love on the Bitcoin, guys, and all the chatter. Definitely follow on Twitter, as there's a 10% run for you yesterday.
Let's talk about EV land. Fisker, the first one on the list this morning, coming off a big day back on Friday. If you remember, got to all-time highs. We have Morgan Stanley out this morning with a price target increase on Fisker. But this is the one, guys, in this group that has kind of lagged the rest as far as finally getting going here. We saw some nice momentum to the upside over the past couple of days, but it is down in the pre-market.
Sorry, just SOS off the top here, just hit the pre-market highs at 620 level. I got like 617, 618 to the short side, just working a little bit out here on the way down to 6. Of course, we just talked about that in crypto. So yeah, I mean, Fisker's lagging a little bit, just working this trade a little bit here, Sean.
SOS, okay, yeah, I don't even know. What was the stock you're talking about there, Brendo?
But for Fisker.
Oh, Fisker. Yeah, I love some Fisker. Look, I'm in Fisker. I sold some last week on some of those crazy moves, up like up 32%, I believe, on Friday here on some of these. Again, earnings, good numbers, good talk in the space. They seem to be a real company. We've seen what happened with CCIV, Lucid Motors, and things like that. I am expecting a pullback. This is why we were selling. I felt pretty bad selling some, in this range here, 24, 25. And I think I was mentioning to Brendan and Neil when it was up to 28, 29. I couldn't believe some of these moves here for Fisker. But, I mean, what a great opportunity to get out, in my opinion, if you've been in. Reward yourself, man. Pay for yourself. Pay something. Buy a TV. Buy something with this money. Fisker's all the way up. It's been a big move down. We know these names are volatile and can come right back in. So you have to watch out for Fisker. Some levels today. Let's just zoom this back out to 1 minute and bring it back in a little bit here. We did have these bottoms. This is what I'm most concerned about, and this is why I think you got to get out of the way right now of Fisker, to be honest with you. $26, I think it's a lot of profit taking. You see that today, up that 5%. The news on the downside, of course, I mean, they got a price target upgrade, but, oh no, that's Neo. Yeah, no, Morgan Stanley, yeah, price target increase on the stock, 27 to 40. So I don't know why it's down. I think it's going to be profit taking. I think they had a great week last week. The best, I mean, I just showed you the daily chart doesn't get much better than that. I'm a profit taker on Fisker, guys. I've been doing it last week. I'll probably do it today, especially if we get back to this 25 level and it does not hold. I think that's a good spot to take out some profits.
Typically don't pay much attention to a stock on earnings day, but in this case we'll talk about Neo, guys. Earnings after market tonight, right at 4:05, I believe, is when their report will come out. Neo's up 6% in the pre-market going into earnings. Does that change things for Neo here?
I think Neo sort of always, and it's not to say that it breaks the rules, but because of the liquidity and the volume, it's always going to be on that radar to trade. And just because it happens to have the earnings, we wouldn't necessarily be holding in things into the close. But I think there's going to be still momentum plays to be had here. And I think that's why I'm not going to ignore, we can't really ever ignore this stock. And first things first, anytime I see a really, really tight range, the first thing that pops in my head is, oh my gosh, we should be taking that little long break. Throw that out the window. I'll double check here myself on my locator, but anytime you see those buy imbalances in the tight range like this, as Sean mentioned, we've seen it over and over again. You do get a little bit of sell action into that range. Into that, it can be a little bit deceiving. So I would look for something. If we can get these previous highs, which were like 48, and that's going into Friday afternoon, guys, in the morning. 48, 47.80, which is the current pre-market low. That little range there, I think, could be a little bit of a support on a dip. I would be a little bit cautious if you're trading this one throughout the day that you might have one of those little afternoon sell-offs at some point. So I'd file that away in the back of your mind that if we're testing, if we actually do get a break and start testing towards like 51, 52, you might see some selling into that in the afternoon. But I would look for that dip buy, probably not as aggressively as you could see if we got it in like CCL as an example, but certainly NEO 47.80 to 48 range would be a good place for me.
Yeah, look, I mean, here it is on the imbalance locator. It's still, we've already covered all four of these names: CCL, NEO, AMC, and Palantir, all on the high side. NEO's into SOS there, not CCL. And yeah, so there's NEO. We'll click on it. We'll have a quick look. This level stands out to me, as it should to anybody that's looking at this chart. This 43.50-ish, 45.50-ish area down here. Again, we're up that 6%, so it's been a big move here today. I just talked to Mark about it. He prefers the GMs and the Fords of the world. So do I, if you're building a position for a longer-term trade. And if you're not in NEO, I think you got to let the earnings settle down. We saw Li Auto last week come out. I think they're the first ones. It's a NASDAQ name. Were the first names to come out in this space. I don't think XPeng came yet. That's going to be, I think, later on this week. And you saw what happened to Li Auto there on Friday. You know, a nice little move upside. I mean, here we go. I'll just recap it. So they came out with their earnings. They closed at about $26, runs up to about 27 in the pre-market, and then just gets hit down to 24 and change before making a bottom. So I can sort of see the same thing happening tomorrow with NEO. But then you see today, Li Auto right back to the high side. So I'm just going to wait. I don't have, this is what I was talking about with the levels today. Like, I don't have much written on here. I just have NEO at the bottom, just the word NEO with a question mark, because I do like it. I like it taking out 50. I like it taking out 49.50. So let's just wait to see what does happen. But right now, NEO higher than it was last week. During the end part of last week, we could hold off 48. Let's see if it defends that level. We'll put some little baby bids down here around 48, but it's tough. Actually, I don't even think I'll do that. Tough for me right now. I'm getting a little bit out of Palantir. I wonder if this market, again, retests back down here, 13.035. Let's just wait to see. We're up that 1.31%. I think a lot of these growth stocks might be a little overextended today. So I don't plan on getting in anything too fast, Brendan.
All right, let's talk about Plug Power. It's 3 Mondays in a row for the Chinese EV makers. So Li Auto last week, NEO today, and then XPEV next week. Let's talk about Plug Power here, guys. JP Morgan out with a upgrade and price target increase on the stock this morning. I was just looking at this. It looks very similar to NEO's chart. Obviously in the hydrogen space, not an EV name, but 9.25% here for Plug.
Strong move right back in. And again, remember, Plug did have that multi-day fall. It was like 5-6 sessions in a row. We had a bit of a bounce off the 50 period, and then a few more days in a row to the downside. Touched off of this awesome like 40, 41 level, which we did talk about, and then essentially right back here. Now 52.50 is going to stand out a little bit there. If you have a quick look at the daily chart, not the level I like on a dip. I actually think if we go all the way to the pre-market low, I'd probably look at a 51.50. But Plug, it's going to be momentum upside for me in this name. If there's something that I actually like for the upside break, it's probably going to be Plug Power. But when you have, and this is going to be 53 right here, so 53 even is the pre-market highs. You go back to where this whole, the biggest of the flushes came in here when you got this 50-50 area break down to like 38. And so you see this 53 price that we have lined up. I think there's going to be some, not trouble necessarily, but certainly some resistance getting through like the 55, 56. So on the way down, I like those levels. On the way back up, I would definitely be scalping that 53. You're gonna likely see Plug pop in here for me. It's not a ton of size on the offer, and it's not a ridiculous amount of volume at only 800,000 shares. But there is a tiny little level here at 53 that if that one goes after the open, because I don't love, when I trade this in the pre-market, it doesn't work out. Usually after the open, it's a little better. So hopefully we get that break. It'll be after 9:30 when the opening range is hit. But Plug, I'd feel a little more comfortable getting on the actual break as opposed to waiting for some of these dips, which I'd love to get today.
I want to look at something very similar here. Blink charging. They do have this 42 level that had some consolidation here on a 20-minute chart. That was this 42, and I think that we're making moves upside there. We were pretty low last Thursday, Friday. 36, 37, even dipped down to 34 on Wednesday, I believe that was, or Tuesday. So that was a low look there. But Blink makes this nice little bottom. I think Blink is a great little momentum play here if you wanted a short-term swing. If you did believe in some of these growth, value stocks, I guess. I mean, growth and value don't make sense, but I think Blink has sort of kept its high area here of 36, 37. I think if you wanted to start investing in it, I think this is a good area right now. And I also do think that for a swing, you get back into the at least the mid 40s this week on any kind of positive news. You see Plug Power moving. So I just think that Blink is one of those other ones that could go here. 100,000 shares isn't too bad. So watch out for this 42 in case the market gets really excited. We'll take a 42. We might even get a $2 win out of that one, up to 43.50, 44 looks possible. So I'm going to put an order in right now. Even though it seems like it's far away, I like Blink through 42.
Yeah, Blink very active last week as well, kind of in that same realm. So a good one there. Let's talk about Electrocore. Ecor up on a distribution deal in Australia. If you look at the daily chart, this is a stock that does tend to fade news. So any kind of pop to the upside does get sold. That being said, there are a couple of big levels above us here. Just using 3 right now. We'll see what happens at 3 at the open, and then 330, 350 above that, which are pretty obvious pre-market levels here, guys, for Ecor. Still up significantly in the pre-market, guys.
Yeah, so Brennan, actually, I like that one as well. You guys can see we're in position on Ecor. Already in and out of SOS for any of those that watched. 620 was just a pre-market high. There was a little bit of a level there in terms of an offer. So a quick in and out scalp to this 6 even area. Now, I did try this one pre-market. Earlier in the pre-market, I should say around 8 o'clock. You get the 8 o'clock bump. It goes right into this $6 range. So I shorted that one. Essentially got out for a scalp. It just immediately started consolidating, so I just got out of that trade. And there was one other short, which is a slight win here in SOS when it popped up to like 580. But 586, 620, every 20 pennies, it looks like it has a bit of a level. If this breaks 620 off the open, I mean, you can see that this is already looking pretty strong. And as I mentioned, watch out for spot, which is hanging right around just above that 48,000 mark. So if we actually push towards 50,000, I think you can pretty much put it on lock that a 62 break, a 620 break is going to be in the cards. For now, that's the only support level I'd be looking at. And if it gets below 550, I mean, that would kind of surprise me a little bit. We'd probably have to see a big fall in spot Bitcoin. But I'll probably take a 550 break on a pure momentum play. We're a ways away from that. Seems like there could be a breakout to the upside looming at 930.
Only 3 and a bit left now as we crack through 926. Look at this Microsoft level right here, 236. That's looking pretty good. We got as high as about 235 there on Friday, as I could see, 235.50, sorry, there on Friday. We're up to 236. Not really up that much. Was really surprised that Microsoft not up a little bit more than this, only that 1.36%. So I have that order to go in here to take that out. Same thing with Facebook. It's upside a little bit today, 1.3, but we are down. These are the levels from Friday. Like, what happened here? Facebook, what time was that? Oh, 5:50. That was a rebalance there trade for Facebook coming to the downside there at the very end of the day. So Facebook does have some moves to go on the upside as well. So 262 break on Facebook. I like that trade for a long, maybe up to around 264. So that could be around $2 if the market goes, man. I think that's a great trade to happen. So 262 on Facebook, and then a nice little breakthrough, a 235.50 with a result there up to 236. So let's see if 236 can break through on Microsoft. So I'm going to be looking at that. I'm looking at the 62 there on Facebook as well. Palantir, we'll see if we can get back down to 24.50 and we'll buy some back down there. Then other than that, man, CCL, Palantir, NEO, AMC through 925. I don't know what that's doing right now. Quick look back. Obviously, we have to check out GameStop as well. So 925 on AMC, we'll look for that one. And then those 2 NASDAQ trades. Other than that, man, we're going to watch. I like DraftKings as well, long. And we'll watch to see what J&J does, man. That one could be moving, but again, off the vaccine. We're not super excited about J&J, but 500,000 shares could get this one moving as well.
Yeah, so Plug just broke that 53 top. Let's see if it can maybe give a little bit of a hold at that range and maybe play a breakout or consolidation off of it. I think the dip buy is going to have to be the play since I didn't want to take a breakout at 927. Watch out for CCL here, 27.85, a bit of level going into the pre-market. This could be interesting for almost an immediate break on that particular stock. And GameStop option bounced back above 105 towards 107. Brennan?
DoorDash, guys, just reading a note on DoorDash saying some of the underwriters have agreed to an early release as far as a lockup is concerned from the IPO. So some of the shares, it doesn't actually specify how many set for early release on DoorDash.
Okay, so
we need to know how many.
We just got in, guys, to Microsoft, so we're gonna wait to see what this one does. Obviously, I hate being in super early. We just paid the piper there, 236.10. It does break above. It really ripped up there. You could have just got like 235.50s and 60s. So we are holding out for this one as the NASDAQ continues to go. We'll put some orders out to get out if we can get an early boost, but we are nervous whenever you get into a, something like this with a minute left. It could bounce around, but that's okay. This is the price we want. I mean, if I'm in a little too early, I'm a little too early. Hopefully that doesn't wind up hurting us. So Microsoft right now, a nice little win. Hopefully if we can get it going upside right now, but there it comes right back to 236. So we'll wait on Microsoft, but we're in early on that one. So only 40 seconds to go before this bell kicks off.
Yeah, and just going to throw a DoorDash here, just a quick look at these levels here on DoorDash. If I can, there it is. So 170 is where it got to. We had a 169.50 close. I'm looking for a 170 break just to take advantage of what might be some negative momentum going into it. Right off of the bat, I do want to flip to GameStop because it was just bouncing to the upside there. And if you're going to watch AMC, you have to watch this name as well. The countdown about to drop, watching a 110 topside on GameStop here. And Miss V, as promised, we keep our word around here, and she's got the pink, and she is ready to ring that bell on this Monday. Let's get this month started. 3, 2, and 1. There we go. Immediately into DoorDash. And again, as Brendan mentioned, we don't necessarily know exactly. Whoa, are you kidding me? 167.50, so $3 off the bats on DoorDash.
Yeah.
I'll take that all day, every day. But Brennan just came with the news to you guys. We don't know how many shares are actually in this lockup expiration here. But either way, a quick double dip out for me. I'm going to take the profit and run on $3. I'll hold on to the rest of the shares. But without further details, it's just a pure momentum play off of the open. Anytime news like that's going to drop on a stock which has done this last week, I'll take it every single time here, guys.
Okay, yeah, good. Fantastic trade there. Okay, Microsoft does dip down. We got into a little bit of trouble, but we only got out a little bit for small little loser there as it does go pretty much down to 235, which was going to be our out. But here goes the NASDAQ right now. So hopefully this can continue some momentum to the upside, and we'll see about getting out. But see, it doesn't want to go. So that's twice now. With the NASDAQ moving, Microsoft fading out through 236. Obviously, I think it will go. We're waiting to get out, though, on the upside if we can through some 25s, 30s. But it's really having a problem here. It's my biggest position. Palantir's doing as we thought, fading back in. This is no skin off our back yet. We're waiting for Palantir still.
Yeah, and here comes the first defense of 27. Now, I love 25.80 to 26 on CCL, but it just dipped and gave you like 27 quarters there. Able to pick some up at 27.26 in front of the quarters, and now watching out for a GameStop through that 110. Looks like it's going to go as well, but let's get a little bounce back in here on, let's take 30 cents profit on that little dip in CCL. But GameStop 110 about to break.
Okay, GameStop's going the other way, right? Okay, so
I missed it.
Oh, you missed GameStop? Okay, we'll look at that. Yeah, AMC probably as well. We're going to watch Palantir, trying to pick some up on the downside there. We did not get any because Neil just talked about GameStop. He missed it, so let's wait to see. Okay, AMC high side, we're looking for that 925. That's going to be a punch through, too, if we can get that one. 925 on AMC as well, guys. And then Microsoft, really, I might just have to get out of this one as the NASDAQ coming down.
Yeah, and sorry, I'll zoom in so you can see a little better here. But that immediate dip, first consolidation was 27.25. This is pre-market low here, 27.60 or so. I'm going to get some shares out of CCL in front of that. I would take the rest out in front of 28 and just play 28 for its own break on CCL, get as active as possible. Brennan?
Early volume leader here, guys. Johnson & Johnson was wondering how active this was going to be on the vaccine news, but J&J breaking 161 to the downside. Pre-market levels here on big volume, guys, for J&J.
Yeah, we were wondering about J&J for sure. Okay, so Palantir here still, what a bottom that was. We waited a little too early, man. We're in the 60s here for 24.60. That looks like that's not going to come through. So yeah, Palantir right now back through 25. We still have our initial long. I don't know if we like anything on Palantir. I'm still waiting for Microsoft to go. We did get some out at 25.50 there. It doesn't look like it wants to. But Palantir, I guess, might be worth something at 25.25 here. We can try that as a break and then see if this VWAP of 25 does hold. So 25 25.25. If they like it, we'll like it too on Palantir. Let's see what happens. 25.25 is my next spot. And then here we go. Downside right now. If this breaks 235, we will get out of the rest of this. We tried Microsoft. It just didn't work. But again, not a huge hit. We did get the majority out on this VWAP break. And there it is, the rest of them. So we'll hold this Microsoft, but that's a loser right now, guys.
Yeah, and DoorDash just broke 166. Now, if you go back into Friday, there was this support level at 162.50, bit of a pivot there in the lunchtime hour. I'll definitely take this out in front of that. If I can get like $6-7 in front of a level like that on late breaking news there, I'll take it all day, every day. CCL, on the other hand, bouncing and holding this 27.50 area. If we put in a higher low, let's say we consolidate maybe 10 cents higher than where I got in, like the mid 30s, I'll probably dig into some more shares here. But as the market screams, ES pushing to its highs, CCL not necessarily going as strongly as I wanted. I wonder if those look, it could be the offerings in both RCL and CLH that are dragging this maybe that name down. Although, check out RCL. It is actually bouncing off support in the pre-market, and it has this little 93, which looks like it could be an interesting little breakout if we get back to the upside. Of course, I'm already in CCL as we start here. Wouldn't necessarily want to double dip, but it's looking almost too good. 93 on RCL if they like that offering.
Okay, we're going to look at, yeah, exactly. I mean, look, it's all about offerings these days, it seems like, anyways, for those stocks. And I think they should be raising capital. So, all right, look at this bottom here, 260 and change. We kind of like that on Facebook. We were looking at 265. The NASDAQ did pull back like we were talking about it, but it didn't come anywhere near this bottom that we were a little nervous about. So the NASDAQ pulls back in here, and we did wind up taking that hit on Microsoft. Wondering if this is a decent time to get back in 234 and change. Was not expecting Microsoft to head to the downside here. So that's why we're out of that. And we'll just wait to see what we can do on this front. Brendan got another one for us.
Another fan favorite, ZOM, Zomedica, guys, out with earnings in the pre-market here. Better than expected for ZOM. This thing's been on quite the tear over the past couple of months, up 15% on huge volume so far.
So when it comes to ZOM, look, you look at some of these levels. Look, you go back to last week. I think it was the weekly high around this 230, and then back up to 240 level. So that price range, I really do feel like there's going to be a little bit, not a halt. It's not going to literally halt, but there could be a slowdown in that range, which would be the first level I would try to fade. If it does pull back in, I would watch for a defense of that $2 area, guys. You definitely have to be interested in some of those little clusters that we like to call it when you're talking about a stock like this. All that said, it's done a lot of volume, and it's a pure scalp play. Like, if it comes down to 2, I'm literally talking about 01s and 02s and taking it out like 5 to 10s. Like, it's not buying in at 2 as a day trader and thinking it's going to 230 or 240 off the bat. Those are really scalp trades if it gets down to that 2 even, especially if I see a monster bid there, and I'll show it to you guys if I see anything.
So we finally get into Palantir off that 25 break. We get some out here, 35s, 38s, but then the market turns, of course, and now we're going to have to, bite our tongue a little bit and see if it can hold, which I don't think, I mean, with this market coming down, this Palantir was just going to be really a play on the market heading back to the upside and then finding something weak, right? So Palantir was upside. It did make this bottom. We had hoped that the market could hold, but the market's doing the opposite of holding right now. It's coming to the downside. So just like we thought, it's going to test this level. Damn it, we thought that we weren't going to come back here, so we get back into Palantir for the long trade. I still like it, obviously, but if it breaks back too much below this 25, man, we're going to have to get out like 25.80, 25.90 or so. Do not want that to happen, but this market is relentless to the downside. Picked up Palantir because we believed in it holding this market, but it doesn't look like it right now. Why don't I just stick with the guns, man, and start to go short a little bit more than long? But Palantir, we're trying to hold out for a little bit of a lower move, and it looks like we're getting it. We'll probably get stopped out soon on this one. What's up, Brendo?
Another one coming off in a hurry here. Wimi Hologram, WIMI, Chinese company. They did another deal with the Chinese government for online education and digital education purposes. So big move down here from 985 down to 920 again on big time volume for WIMI.
So, Neo, the level we talked about in the dip was like that 47.80 to 48-ish area. It does dip through there. Now, it's one little wick off the open. You'll see that time and time again. It actually makes its base right at 47.80 after that. So my patented play here is to just get the next little consolidation dip. Average price 47.95. Almost have to scalp this one. If you take some shares out, and I will take some shares out in the 48, like 10 to 15 range. It just feels like this market after that. went up. We went upside initially and then just snapped right back down. So it gives me a little trepidation with some of these dips. So you got to take profit, maybe even a little bit earlier than I think. So maybe takes like 10 cents out if we can. Then we'll go with like 20 or so, and then hang on to the rest to see if we can make an upside push. And I'm feeling the same way about a CCL here. I mean, I don't know how the longs are faring for you here, Sean, but CCL, the dip looked great. This one in front of 27 quarter, but now it cannot seem to break out through 27.60, having all kinds of trouble getting through that next level. I'm going to go break even stop on the rest of these shares here. If it gets to 28, fantastic, but I'm not going to let this turn into a loser.
No, don't let anyone turn into a loser. We did get some out there on Palantir, but we're still holding pretty strong here at 27. So we'll wait to see. We should have, I mean, we got out basically the very bottom there, 24.93. Probably should have given it to the very, very bottom. But again, with too many shares, we're not going to be able to do that. So a loser here for Palantir, but we still continue to hold that. Really happy with what's happening on Rocket Mortgage. Those of you guys that know, so our Friday, I was able to get out for flat. We didn't have very much luck on the Friday move. We got as high as $24 there on Friday before fading right back, I guess 23. No, that's not it. It was in the pre-market. Yeah, here it is, 24.20 in the pre-market. In the open market, though, we got back as high as about 23 and change. Wasn't much to do with Rocket on Friday, but it looks like today we're starting to go. Watch out to see if that same level, that same sort of high level here, 24 can hold. What is this, 23.05? So we're right there right now on Rocket, but what a good move that was up to the upside there on that name. What's up, Brendo?
Wasn't on the list this morning, but we spoke about it in depth. DraftKings, guys, what a move here from 63 at the bottom end of the pre-market. Just broke 66 all-time highs for DraftKings.
There we go. We always talk about how it's such an of course, we just talked about the breakouts being difficult in that stock, but if you love that space, you got to love that name. Sometimes things are just better for the buy and hold and the swing, and DraftKings firmly in that regard. For the day trade, you did the backflip, so I'm not going to do it. We'll power it up for NIO here. Like I said, I would get some out there at that 48, like 15 range, and I just got all of it out at 48.35. Right, so we get that little dip buy. If it takes out the top, you can always have breakouts there, but I'm anticipating we're going to get a bit of a pullback, and there goes CCL. So first half we take a win, the second half we get break even. That not holding up as well, and the reason why I want to take profits shy of the high there in NEO is because those dips I wanted to make sure we locked in on, just not nearly as strong in this market as I was anticipating. The good news is Ecor to the short side, this one working rather nicely. The only problem is I should have, and this is like right before 9:30, I don't like getting in right before that, but right after, we got one little push right back into like 290 or so. Probably could have got some more shares. Still have the ones from early in the pre-market at 304. It's down at around 275 and looking like it wants to try to break through this key level, but this could have some trouble, this particular stock, going too much deeper. There was a bit of a chop area right at this 275 if you go back into last week.
So we got a little more Palantir. It looks like we're going to get a little bit more again when it comes through. And then, look, the story remains the same on this stock, to be honest with you, man. I mean, this 24.25, 24.40 area, something like that, to see if we can hold it. I mean, I don't know. This is just a tricky stock to take for the long side. Even, I mean, when the market comes down here, Palantir is just going to continue to get hit. It tried to make some moves to the upside. We're averaged in a little bit now. Our average price is fine. It's 25.20, but you do have some of these bottoms, man. This 24.50, definitely worth watching out for to see if anything does happen there. NEO takes out the top, so we're in on that one. And so far, so good on a nice little breakout trade here for NEO up through to 86, 87. We'll take a little bit out there. We're long at 76 now on NIO.
Gotta love it. And still trying to make a push to the downside here is that DoorDash. And of course, Brand doing an awesome job giving you guys that live news. You want to make sure there's a catalyst. We don't know how many shares are going to come available, but there was a great short here through. I actually got 170.57, which is a ridiculously good price. But I did put a target down here. That's right, 163, about 50 or so, a little bit above that. It turns around just in front of my price here, so you're getting a bit of a pullback. I was actually giving this all the way to break even of my shares, and that feels like a prudent thing to do. But if we get a rollover shy of 170, I actually might double dip and get back into this one on the south side. I want to come to Disney. I don't know that we mentioned this name. Of course, it's a recovery play as well. But it sold off. I don't know if this is real. We actually had a shot to get 190 off the open. That seems crazy. But if this wants to pull back, and there is any weakness in this market, and we get 190s, I'll take it all day, every day in Disney. I did have a 193.50 break written down, but I didn't want that one off the open like some others better. Looks like we might get our shot there, although I would adjust it to 194, the current high of day.
Wow, DraftKings, man. I mean, we're gonna say money because the account is rolling right now with some DraftKings money. Okay, and talk about another money trade right now. It looks like we'll make a little bit back here on NEO. Again, we haven't lost anything, but just on our other trades here, NEO making moves. Long 78 right now, in the money 25, 30, 40 cents, depending where you go. Our best out here is 05 off to 76 long, so that's going to be, looks like it's going to work out for us. And then our Palantir, man, we're still waiting. That bounce back, we did a nice little dip by there. Our average price is right back into flat right now, 25.20. We do know that there is some resistance up here in the 40s, so if this wants to go, which it looks like it wants to now with the futures going, Palantir, we'll see if we get to something out, at least in the 40s, and make back some. Now you go, Rocket! Now you go, Rocket. I mean, that's fine, man. I mean, we'll go cut dogs for everybody because now Rocket's starting to go. We're long this name. We've still got some calls on Rocket. Like I said, we broke even on the calls on Friday, and now we'll wait. I mean, I should have took some money out, didn't, but whatever. That's my bad on that one. But we still have the equity. We still got that dollar coming our way now as well. So here goes Rocket Mortgage. Let's see how this one wants to take off too.
And I want to come back to it, and we'll talk a little bit about these stocks from time to time, but GameStop doing literally nothing. It's very choppy and whippy action, holding above 105. If this breaks 100, I mean, look, if it can't go up, very likely momentum comes out and we head sharply to the downside. So I'm watching for a 100 break. I'll have that all day as a little momentum trade breakdown. Brendan?
On track, guys. An earnings name from, it was 2002. I was just checking the IPO date, but I thought it was a recent addition, but 2002. This is an AI-based healthcare equipment maker. So down big time this morning. They reported here in the pre-market. So this thing's got quite a ways to go. If you have a look at the daily chart, 63 up here. We're now at 32 for OTRK, guys.
So I just want to bring to everyone's attention here that NEO, although the market going up, NEO not, right? So it's coming back down a little bit. So I have layered some offers. Oh, this is a 3-minute chart. Let me switch this over. You can have a little bit of a better look. We have layered the offers here. So we've been getting out here 48, 49s. I do have some more offers layered in here. What I mean by that is just like, you know, bidding, like offering 40, I don't know where they are, I have to find them, but like 83, 80s, things like that to the upside. So if we do get another move up, hopefully it'll start taking us out because there we go. See, bang, bang. A couple outs there on NEO. We'll get out again if it comes up into the mid 90s, and then we'll let the rest ride there. So we'll wait to see, but we are getting lighter and lighter on NEO as it doesn't look like it wants to participate. Microsoft, though, did we make a bottom down here? 233, maybe we did. VWAP 235 even, could be a shot worth taking there.
Yeah, and I'm going to go to that E-Core. Talked about this, that 275 area in the daily chart. It does turn. I didn't get the rest of the shares out there. I did have a bid, try to get out semi-aggressively. Now we've come right back into that 3. So I reloaded in front of $3, guys. My shorts were above that price, but now below it is going to be the range. If it breaks 3, I'm getting out of this one. Watch out, that GameStop is heading towards that 100 level, and I will have that short if it goes. Slowing down, and the market's not slowing down because ES is on their highs, but slowing down is Disney. So as much as I like a 194 break, doesn't feel like that's going to be the first thing to come in here for me, unfortunately. And let's go back if we can. Where are you? Yeah, AMC over there. AMC, so like GameStop breaking that 100, AMC heading towards this 850 bottom. So these could happen at the same time, 850 and 100 to the downside on AMC and GameStop, those meme stocks coming back into the south side.
Yep, GameStop. Yeah, I mean, we never got taken out there on our top side move there on that stock. Look at Boeing, man. We talked about Boeing in the pre-market there and how much I like this stock. And this just keeps on going, man. 5%, just go, go, go. This is my reopen play. I think if you want to put your money into something solid, you could definitely watch out for Boeing in that move. Or Tesla back down below 700, 289 now. You know, we didn't talk about this too much in the pre-market as we focused a lot on NEO with earnings today after market, but Tesla right there does touch 698, looking to come back down now. Look at the TSX. Look at the NASDAQ making moves to the downside here as well. So watching anything like this, very, very slippery slope. Microsoft, again, with the move down, we take the long, we're out there, out on a 235 break. But VWAP right now back at 235. A good little area to get long. Look, this was a nice little bottom here on Friday. Obviously, it's in the aftermarket, but we did bottom out here at 232 and change. I don't think we get to that, but those are pretty nice levels, man. We got to 233 today. If we can get back down there, I think we need to buy some more.
Speaking of, you mentioned you actually said NEO right when it came right back into that 48.30 range. Now, I did take shares shares out in that little consolidation, but if it wants to break the high, and I missed the break, I'll take the dip, and why not? We got 48.43 in front of these levels here. We'll take this likely towards that 49 range in case it can't extend through that high of day. I want to make sure you're scalping at least a little bit when you're trading NIO. Brendan?
This Morph, anyone looking at MORF, this is a pharmaceutical company. It is a small cap, but a little bit bigger. So over 1 billion market cap here, 6250 just being tested here on huge volume. They had positive data on one of the trials they currently have underway for one of their more promising drugs, it sounds like, guys. So 72% here for MORF.
Morph.
What a great name. That's an awesome name.
Yeah, Morpheus. Okay, we just took another long down there on Palantir 86s. So again, maybe I can zoom in. I know I can't zoom in too much more than this. Let me see. There it is. So again, we just were waiting there for that bid. We saw this bottom 85 or 82, I guess 81. I mean, we dipped the low as 61. I don't know if that actually happened there or not, but there is the bid 85. We just took the long. Now it's back up here. So that's why our average price now 11s on Palantir. And I think worth getting some out around here again off that 86 dip buy. So obviously we want to hold it for a little bit of a longer move. The NASDAQ needs to get going if that's going to come in. And then we sounded the alarm on this NEO, man. That's why we're very light. So we noticed that the market was going up, NEO was coming back down. So very, very light on this trade as it's continuing its march to the downside. I'm not going to get caught long here on NEO as we have that 10% left. So a good trade here. It broke through view up, probably worth getting out right now on a 48 break, guys.
I know it just broke the quarters, which is it's weird. That's the second time you mentioned NEO, and look at this. Sean mentions NEO. I get the dip buy right here into that range. I get some out for the scalp. I said you got to be scalping this trade, and then immediately it breaks down. So it's like if I need something to happen on NIO, like a trigger for it to move, I guess we just need Sean to open his mouth there, and it's going to work out for us. I do want to come. Brendan, I mentioned a couple of names here, but one of them was that ZOM. ZOM. It is down towards that 2, and I promised you guys I would show you what the level 2 looked like if it got to $2. Not a heck of a lot. AMC just broke that 850. I got 47. Not the best price in the world for that breakdown trade. And watch out, here comes GameStop as well. But not a lot of size at 2 even. So ZOM, I don't know if that's going to be first on my list, guys, to jump in front of it. Doesn't seem like it's worthwhile.
Damn it, I was actually looking, yeah, so here comes NEO again, very, very light. We're just gonna watch that. I was actually looking to go short now on DraftKings. This is a big move for them today. Obviously, we know, I'm super, super happy. I mean, we talked about this in the pre-market. What's up to Daryl as well? This is becoming a large percentage now of my longer term holdings and my short term holdings, just because I've been liking it so much and buying, and now we're up that 7 and change. So I think DraftKings, man, breaking through the 66, could be a trade to the short side. So let's go short DraftKings through 66 here and just give it a little bit of room back to the upside, 66.50 or so. I mean, if this market wants to keep pulling down like this, obviously it's bringing DraftKings down with it. I mean, it's a strong, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's better stocks to short if we did want it, but that 66 is kind of staring me in the face here. We did break out through 66. It's bounced off there a couple times. Just wonder if we retrace back a little bit here on some DraftKings. But I mean, wow, we're still super strong. Maybe we should look for a weak name to go instead of that. But that's a good one to look at there. SOS still moving around. GameStop, Neil, like you mentioned, right at that 100, man. I don't know if it broke there. I guess you were watching. I mean, 102.
I just got the trigger, so I mean, I guess it did break. But I'm in and out instantly when we get that little break. If it doesn't go, I'm going to be out of that trade immediately. Look, when you look at like $1.50 on GameStop, I know it doesn't feel like that's a lot of growth. When you're doing a breakdown trade, it's not to hold this trade forever. So I'm in and out very, very fast here. And the same thing with that AMC. Like I got a few shares out there at 43 when it broke that 50, and I got 47 short the rest right out at like 50 and 51. So I'm not going to hang on to either one of those. When you're doing breakdown trades, it's all about quick executions. We're going to go to Valerian in a second, but just watching Fisker holding a higher low right now in front of 26. I would watch for a 27.50 break. That's that opening range top. Miss V is at the big screen. Let's go to her.
Hey guys, C3AI is a name from the chat for you. The stock is trading on high volume, and also company reports its earnings today after market. AI, guys.
Yeah, and this is... Oh, sorry, yeah, they actually... what is it? Snap CEO has joined their board, so that is another sort of positive piece of news here. But C3AI, we talked about this particular one as one of the more interesting of the, I mean, it was DoorDash, which sort of took the lead, and Airbnb, and then C3AI was actually the better trade the first few sessions in terms of an IPO. But you look at these levels here, right back into a 112 support. I don't love these names on the day of their these earning reports, especially this early on. But you have to feel like if we can hold that 112 level, this could be an interesting stock, at least for the rest of the session. I don't love the breakouts. I'd much rather play off of support here in the underneath or above that 112 would be this 115 area. And it's a big time spread at times here and not a lot of volume, Brennan.
We had this SPAC on the watch list this morning, Vector Acquisition Corporation. They're taking this Rocket Lab USA public, which is a satellite company. So VACQ, still trying to hold 13 here, guys. We just had a big volume alert come off here at 13. If it does get below that, though, expect a bit of a down move for VACQ.
Okay, I do like this break right now that's about to happen on Facebook. We did have a nice little bomb. Hopefully I can get long. There we go. So we are long now. Facebook through here, 259. It's looking to break out. So we'll see if we can get some love here for Facebook trade long. It looks like it's working so far. So we'll get some out 42s if we can. 43, 44, 45. So a nice little win here for Facebook. Let's just see if it can join the NASDAQ momentum here and finally get going. So Facebook, maybe back up to 260 and change would be a nice little trade for us. If it can go. So that's a good one. Palantir trying to go now as well. So a couple stocks moving around. We'll get some out. We don't want to, again, hold some of these longs into a fading market. So Facebook right now, a nice little, 30 cents right now, but we're looking for more.
Yeah, I mean, the ES actually looking pretty strong at testing towards those. I want to go to SOS. Look, you can say it all you want, but you got to take the trade sometimes. It's 620. I talked about that one little dip down. It felt like a strong stock. I did not take the 620 break. Obviously, you can see a lack of an execution there. And we've already moved that dollar. So let's forget about that and start thinking about what's going to be next. Spot has not moved, but this probably has more to do with a rebound after that little short seller report. $8 would seem like an interesting place where it could catch a little bit of resistance. And if it gets there and we're still screaming upside, you're probably going to see me jump into a short trade. That's just going to be the style that I'm going to work with from time to time. DoorDash is also rebounding here, so I want to make sure that we do not lose. It's not going to be a loser the last of that trade, guys, but certainly want to make sure we do lock in some of that profit in the final third. And then finally, with Spot doing nothing, SI, Silvergate, the bank, it's up 9%. I actually was looking for this one for a bit of a top-end break. But unfortunately, the volume is looking pretty weak. I like it on the daily chart. It looks pretty good, taking out that 142 top. It looks pretty solid if we do get a push towards that 50,000. But the spread over $1 and 150,000 shares. So probably done as a day trade for me, unfortunately.
Okay, so I see you there, Brittany Grant, talking about Plug Power. I do like that trade, breaking through 52 there. I mean, I missed it, but that was a good one, man. That's right where VWAP was. It looks very, very similar to Facebook, except for this was a little bit more of a V-shape recovery right there. So it looks like you might have picked a good one here as well, Brittany, with Plug. That's a great breakthrough 52. Look, up 8% today. NASDAQ starting to make new highs. So that would make sense to me if you have that long as well. So right now we're looking at that. We also have some nice movement upside again on this. Is trying to click on Facebook. Facebook making some moves, but it's having some problems here in the 30s. So again, like a 59 long got out. We only have half left as it's trying to go. And there goes Rocket through 24. I said, like, yeah, nice job there, Rocket. Finally going on the day after move, but that's okay. We'll wait to see if it does have any love through $24 here. That's Rocket to the upside. So we're spinning money, man. You guys know we're long this name at $20. So there's a nice little smooth 20% for you. More than that on the upside here for Rocket. Long $20. I put that buy it down. You can follow me on Twitter. We talked about that before earnings. So here we go, Rocket. Hopefully Rocket's upside as we're long at 01 here.
And remember that E-Core, it breaks that 3, next level up, and I was shorting off of like a 310, but the key level is really going to be back when it had the big flush here at about 7 o'clock, and this is going to be a 335. If it pushes any stronger into 335, that's the level I'm going to be shorting into on ECOR. Brendan?
Just saw a volume alert here on this one. Airbnb, we were looking at this last week, $200 right above it here on Airbnb. They updated their current quarter guidance today, guys, to the upside. So they did sell this, though, at the open, but just trying to hold underneath 200 here for Airbnb.
Come on.
2369. Just trying to find some outs for Rocket. Okay, so in at O's there, out at 10s, and now we're going higher here. So hopefully we'll get some more out. We do have some layered offers outside here to take this trade to get out. So we'll layer them upside. There's a nice little fill there at 15. Look at the spread. You have to take that into consideration. If the market does fall, Rocket will get hit because now the spread's okay, but it was just opened up there 5 or 6 cents. So let's watch Rocket to the upside. What a great trade that was, man. We'll hit the bang for that because we gave this one to you guys for earnings call, and there's a lot of people people messaging me that they made a lot of money on some of those calls and whatnot. So congratulations on that, man. I mean, that was huge for me. I just told you that huge for me equity side. I still have some longer term calls that are going to be really working for us right now. And talk about working, here goes Facebook up to the 50s right now. So again, some orders out, but we're going to watch to see what happens in the 50 range. But right now we're spending money on these longs, guys. Took a while for them to get going, but here we go.
Yeah, I'm not watching that Airbnb. I mean, I look at that 200 level. It's almost too good to be true. A momentum play for me is going to be a little bit of a break through that price on Airbnb. Now, it's gotten, I don't want to say beaten up, but you did have, and this is a 15-minute chart so you guys can see, of course, not fully loading, blah, blah, that's really annoying. Either way, there we go, finally starting to track back in. This price range had a spike and a failed break before a monster breakout if you go into last week, of course, on Friday. And so if we can get through there, I do think there's going to be a nice little juice play to the upside. Watching NEO as well, we dipped in and out of that stock rather quickly for the long trade. Obviously, with earnings after market, you do have to trade it with a grain of salt. But it is back up, and we did hold that higher low. So if I had gone back to our original entry point, that 47.80 to 48, that certainly would have worked well. I think if we test back down there again, I'm going to like it. But also filing away, high a day, 49.25. So I'll play a quarter break through that hot top, not a 49, but I'll take the 49.25 break on NEO. Otherwise, I'm waiting patiently for the level we liked earlier on in the morning. But that was at 47.80 to 48 level. Not going to play in the middle on NIO.
Okay, so just watching out here as Palantir starting to go. Yeah, so some nice wins here. Just looking to see where we're trying to get more out. Yeah, in the 30s, because we did have Palantir rocketing to the upside. I mean, look, again, guys, today, boom, 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 profits, profits, profits on Palantir. You know, the only drop down was right there, and we bought it back. So we did take a hit. So if it does show us down on Palantir, it's just a thing with the trade figure eight, you know, how it got figured out there. But we did go back long. We haven't taken out too much here, but up to 35 would be our next spot to get out there. So 40 cents now on Palantir. Facebook right now, 75 cents. We just took a nice little win there on that one, similar to what you did there, Brittany. So again, for now, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster today, but we're fine. The market's now starting to go back to the high side. We did talk about this very bottom, and it held, man. That's why we started going long on Palantir and on Facebook. We found some weak names. We went long, and hopefully we hit the jackpot with some of these. As Palantir now starting to go here, and we get a little bit excited into the 90s or long 90s, back into the 40s. This is where we had trouble before. Let's see if we can get through, man. If we can, then clear. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to say clear skies, but we'll see if it can get above this 45. Like Neil said, there was some resistance there in the pre-market. That's my best out, 45. So we'll see if we can get more out at 45 if it comes down there. But Facebook, wow, what? All the way back down. Look at this, man. We were just laughing. Good out there on Facebook. Now it comes all the way back down. Wow, slippery slope, guys, on some of these shares.
Yeah, and I know there's that 145 level on Palantir. It's hard for me to take a long break at 45. So I already said it's going to be that 50 for me. It's just the round numbers are better not in my opinion, but just in my practice in terms of the trading those breaks. eCore, I did say if it slid into this 335 range, that's what I would wait for to get back in. I got 24s for now. If I can get some more shares in the 30 range, I definitely would. Certainly worth scalping to like 3 to 310. And if it breaks below that price, I'd be looking at that last entry price. This little level here off the open, like 285 would be the absolute bottom. Palantir does break the 50, so let's see if I can't quickly scalp some out there. And again, look, it's going to obviously be true. I'll get to the chart in a second here. It's going to obviously be true on Palantir that if you took 45, where the actual level was, you're going to have fared better on that break. But I like the break through that 50 level. I did just quickly get out of half of it. And when it spiked to like 60, I'm going to do that on every single breakout and then see how far we can let it ride. So there you go. I already said I like the even numbers. I guess that superstition cost me like 5 cents on a breakout trade. Either way, it's still going anyways. Let's get going Palantir.
Yeah, guys, finally, yeah, Palantir, man, a great trade on this one. We're back long in the 50s, but I mean, look at this, ding, 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 straight to the upside. So yeah, there it is, hot dog cannon time. Oh, that's not the hot dog cannon, that's a flying hot dogs coming in for Palantir. We've been, pumping the tires on this one all morning, looking to get some bottoms. We did that, bang, bang there. There it goes up to 25.90. Obviously, that's a bad wick there, but nice little move, high side. I don't have any offers out right now, so we'll see where this one wants to go, but that goes Palantir now. Rock rocketing upside. We'll get some out right now if we can. Did we get those 65s? No, we did not, but we're offering 65s now. I don't think there's anything wrong with getting some more out. 62, 63. It's a nice move up on Palantir, as right now the Nasdaq's right at the same spot. Just like we were down here, we're now stuck up here. So you may want to take out some profits on some of these longs if you do have them in some of these growth names, including Facebook. Let's get some more out on this one. But right now, with happening now, we're going to find out more about the sectors with Brendo.
Hey guys, yeah, it's 10 o'clock. Let's have a look at very, very positive numbers here. They've updated our view as far as the board is concerned. So bear with me. S&P 500, 1.7% to the upside. The Dow Jones, 1.9% leading the way so far. Almost a 2% move. Nice morning so far. Tech stocks having a nice day as well. 1.7, 1.5 respectively. Composite, the 100. You can see the Russell, 2.3%. Small caps, very strong. Here in Toronto, the TSX, 1.2%. I mean, pick a market today. It's going to be in positive territory. A couple things to keep in mind from the watch list. Yeah, a couple people talking about this one. Big rejection at 53 for plug. Did bounce off 51 nicely. We're trying to get back above 52, but it is struggling right now. 52 was an area in the pre-market that it did have trouble with, so heads up on plug. NEO, we talked about as well, ahead of earnings aftermarket, 48 bottom. We're at 49. If it does get above 49, NEO looking strong as well, guys. Back over to you.
All right.
Thank you, Brennan. Going to pull a little bit of a dip buy, but I'm going to throw into the gates of hell this ECOR. I told you guys I was going to try to get more shares in front of that 335 area. I did not, obviously, as you can see. But starting to take some out. That little scalp trade will take like 10, 15 cents. And then, of course, the next level down, this like 285 to 295 area. So, yeah, that's great. Like, it'll be a winning trade after taking our first hit on it after the open. But I do wish I had added to that position like we did try to. There goes a Disney break. Of course, this is now the second long break that I've missed through a stop order, but there's that 194. It does go. I didn't get the actual shares when it got triggered in. We'll see if we can't buy a little bit of a dip there. As Palantir buying the dip just now in the 30s worked out. It's back towards that 25.50. Got to take some profit in front of 60 to 65. Seem to be some resistance in that area.
Yeah, hallelujah right now for this one as well. Go some falling down money again. We did the exact same thing, man. We bought 35s, we bought 40s. We just got some out 55 there. So yeah, Palantir, we'll see if it still wants to go to the high side right now. NEO, we still have our NEO trade. Upside 49, good call on that, Brendan. We're still holding a little bit. We got out of 5% there on a 48.25 break. But now, yeah, I mean, a good win here. My number one stock looks like it's still going to be NEO. Mind you, whatever happens to Palantir will still be on the board. Rocket, a nice move upside, that 9%. We're saying hell yeah to that because that's a big holding of ours, especially in our swing account. Just wish we had this week expirations for those 24 calls that we had, 23 calls that we had that we got out flat for on Friday. And then Boeing, guys, wow. What a big move this was. I talked about this one with Mark Roberts. I talked about why I liked it, why we were buying some downside on Friday, 212. I think, like I said, I think I got some 213 love around here. So that's still whatever, man. I mean, still a nice little $13 move to the upside, 7% today. So that was a good rebound play there. Palantir, it just did the exact same thing again, guys. It missed through 50. So it's trying. It's stopping. We're getting out. Then we just took some more out right now. We're not going to die on this Palantir sword, guys. It doesn't look like it wants to go. Find a name that's a little more aggressive, like a NEO, like a Facebook here, something like that we can make money on. Oh yeah, Facebook, a good trade for me as well. Bang to the upside. So that was working out well. Maybe a 259.50 break is also well.
Yeah, and the last dip for me is coming here in Palantir as it tries to hold a 25 quarter range. NEO is still not breaking the top, guys. It actually just turned again at 49. 49 quarter is going to be that high of day. That's where I like to break out. If it can dip and maybe give you like a VWAP play here, because the market's still heading to the upside. If I can get like 48.50s, 48.60s on this little dip here, I'll definitely take. So I might as well slide an order just so I'm prepared in case it happens. ECOR, we take profit on some of the short, and then it just comes right back, gives me the shot at the 335, and then immediately breaks. So this one looking strong. The key thing here and why I'm going to wait for the high of day, look at the volume start to pick up to the upside here on this stock, guys. You got to watch out for that. And NIO, just finally actually just got the shares in the dip. So 66, I just put the order in, and immediately it bounces off that level. It can scalp some out in the mid-70s, maybe the 80s. But NIO bouncing, eCore looking strong. I want to see it test that 365 high before I get back in. Otherwise, it's got to retake 3 even to the downside.
Okay, so we did get out of some of our trade there with Palantir as it goes to the downside and hits us out at that level. But oops, that's not Palantir. But we did take some more shares again on Palantir. So let's wait to see now what wants to happen. Again, we get nailed out of the majority of our shares there on this VWAP break. But now we take another little bit here and we'll get some off again if we can. 32s I'm offering. We took some more long there, 26s. So let's just wait to see how high this one wants to go. But we do know that there's been a lot of problems with Palantir at that 50 level. So this is hopefully just going to be, like I mentioned, a quick little scalp back now. So we'll see if it can go. But Palantir trying to make that money back through the long now, back up to the 50s. That's going to be Palantir. AMC. Yeah, just doing what it needs to do, man. $8.70, $8.90, $9, chilling around, not doing a whole hell of a lot. We are still waiting for that 9-quarter break on AMC. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, but the Moon Gang needs to come out because right now GME and AMC just not doing a whole hell of a lot. eCore moving around. I know you're on that one, Neil. And then CCL back to 27.50 could be a trade coming up there. Uber, we talked about that as a nice little buy. That's up 5% today.
Yeah, again, we're sort of fishing around here for those NEO profits. So we get this dip and start the position in the mid-60s. That ends up being a good turn, but it wasn't all the way to VWAP. So you know I'm going to take some out here when it gets to that 80. I was actually trying to take some more shares out in front of 49. Had I gotten the dip price at 48.50 and actually gotten a little bit cleaner here, I certainly would maybe be more ecstatic about holding. But it does feel like it still wants to test a little bit lower. The high lows it put in, we're talking about $1 away from here, guys. So like I said, I will scalp. I still like the top end break. If we get through that 49.25, as I just get more profit out there, so a quick little 30-cent win on those shares. I will be flat if it breaks 49. And ultimately 49.50 is its own trade. Sorry, 49.25 is its own trade. So literally, as I say it, it's like, okay, we just broke 49. I just got out. So there's the win on the dip buy at NIO. Let's go to Brennan and watch for the top break on NEO.
Yeah, it was CGC. I'm just looking at the cannabis stocks, guys. I just saw this one pop up. I'll show you. CGC, 5.8% today to the upside. No significant news surrounding the group today, but technically they are all kind of trying to bounce off of the recent lows that we saw in the group. So cannabis strong, guys.
Yeah, we'll say hallelujah to that one. Yeah, we're loaded up on those cannabis stocks, that's for sure. I'm just getting out here because, again, like the same kind of thing is happening once again here for Palantir. It's just struggling on the upside. Like, it tried to go again, and we just got some more out, like 40s, 30s. Like, I'm trading more shares right now, but less movement because, I mean, I'm trying to hold. Like, I wish that this could go. We're going to hold a little bit more here. I got to give it back to this 25. We've held a couple times. I don't want to get too thrifty and get out again on this VWAP break because, again, not much happening, not much movement here for Palantir. So we may have to, like I said, look elsewhere there. NEO's a nice runner there. We still long here, 76 upside. 49 and change. We'll see if that can come out. But right now, man, it's NEO. It's Palantir for me. And then Rocket. I mean, we may pick some more up here, but we're pretty light. We just wanted to see what was going to happen. 24.50, 24.60, a good little spot to pick up some more Rocket if you're not in yet and you do like the way this is setting up, already up that 8%.
Yeah, and speaking of up 8%, that's right. There is a spirit. We got the upgrade, and we talked about this maybe having certainly you can participate with this particular name in the upside in the overall airline industry, and without maybe the hangups that Boeing had. I still like Boeing, but this one we brought to your attention. It's not the best day trade in the world. It's not the most volatile stock. It doesn't do the most volume, but certainly a stable name and another push to the upside. Not pushing higher, and like I said, SOS, I was going to look for a turn. I thought maybe we'd get to that $8 mark. No moss, and as I look over at spot, yeah, we're still at the exact same place, 48.5. So this is purely turning into one of those like unwinding of the, I guess, short seller report type plays. So a bit of a squeeze off the open. I'm looking for my next place to get in. I thought it was going to be on a parabolic push up that I would fade. It might actually be a breakdown. And I look at it hanging around this 650 mark and ask myself, hey, if it breaks 6 even, I'm probably going to take that break. But now looking at like a 645 for a smaller scalp, the 6 would look a little bit better to me. And of course, I do prefer when we get those parabolic pushes. So if it bounces off VWAP, I'll probably look at $8 and not this high of day. I feel like if it tests that, that's more of a breakout than a fade.
Yeah, so welcome, guys, today again. If you haven't hit the like button, like only 2.2 likes right now. So let's get this to 3 right now. We'll have to show Valeria. We'll put Valeria on. We'll show her pink hair. You can see Neil's Chrome Dome all day. And now you have Valeria coming here with 2.2K. We thought we'd get a lot higher today, guys. There it is. Yeah, I don't know, man. I thought we'd be higher, so let's see if we can get it back to at least 4. If you guys are sitting on your hands there, please hit the like button. As Tesla goes back above 700 right now, do we want to throw to Valeria? Sure, we can. What's up, V?
Yes, guys, please hit your like. We have 10,000 viewers. Neil gone bald. I got my hair pink. We do everything we can, and what we ask is only to click the like button. Back to traders.
That's all you gotta do is give us just hit that little like button. We can joke around all we want, but Chrome Dome, that's what a certain character in Star Wars is called. If you guys are nerds like me, I'm sure you can call it out. Palantir here, ignore that, just a little stop order below that 25 mark. There it is, that 3,000 likes, but here is that, and I don't know why 24.45 is a level on Palantir, Sean, but again, in this consolidation, 24.45 is resistance. This is a little bit crazy. It almost feels like long at 42 is an average price. It's ridiculous that I could get out basically flat and then just take the break when it eventually goes and be none to the wiser, not worse off. And I do see a bit of a bid there at 35 that just got chewed through. It does feel like I should just take a lot of this off and add only if it breaks that 45 mark. It just seems, for whatever reason, that's a price and I can't ignore it, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. Lighten the load on Palantir and then just take a 45 break if that's what happens. Brandon, what's up, bud?
All right, guys, one of the groups kind of holding things back so far today, I feel if they weren't, might be a lot higher. AMD, I'm talking about semiconductors here. They all gapped higher, including OM Semiconductor. A couple of upgrades on that one, but look at this move on AMD, straight to the downside as soon as the market opened today. Filled the gap from Friday and then some. 84 held as support, but some of the semiconductors weak today, guys.
Yeah, well, I noticed that as well with NVIDIA, and then you have your AMD there. But yeah, I'm looking at that CGC. Wow, a nice little move upside for CGC. I know you just talked about that with Weed Batman, and we'll see. I don't know, all my things, I think I have a wrong thing here. I can't even get to any of my normal, there it is, Weed Batman is in the building. So we'll see CGC today, up that 5 in a bit. Yeah, this, again, you know, some of these chronic names here do have big moves. We know that. If you're looking at CGC, I love CGC as an investment. I think that's the #1 place that you could invest in for, I mean, there's other ones. We like Grow Generation. I've talked about these a lot, but CGC is a little different risk profile, obviously, than Tilray. We know what Tilray can do. So again, looking at that upside down today, I don't want to trade these names. I just want to bring them to your attention, up 4%, but not really worth a day trade. As you can see, it's just kind of like bouncing around, not doing a whole hell of a lot. So I'm not in love with this play at all. That is Tilray not doing much, neither CGC. Just wanted to look at the charts for you guys.
Yeah, and a quick look back over at CCL. I mean, we tried the dip buy. It's right at 930. It's going to work out initially, but we talked about that consolidation. Could not push past 27.65, which I just did right now, so I just broke through to the long side. I was going to tell you that it wasn't able to push through initially, and then we finally get the break just now. So there you go, that 65 breaks. I wasn't able to pick the bottom here, a little bit too hard, but when you see this consolidation, turns once off that 65 level right at that opening range. Second time, a charm here, immediately scalping some out in front of that 75 mark. And you can see at 930, it did push to 28. I'm going to be all out of this trade, the 66 long. If it gets to 28, I'll be all out of that looking for an even $1.28 breaks. That's going to be the style that I'm going to work with here on CCL. It does so much in volume, 17 million shares right now. We can be active as we want on CCL. So I want to make sure we're locking in some of this profit. I'd give it back to the 50 range on a bit of a pullback if it cannot go. And then as quickly as I had said all of that on Palantir, I mean, it immediately pushes to the downside and I get out. Shy of VWAP here. Now, if it dips to 25 and I can catch a long in front of that, not a problem. But I'm going to wait for that 45 to break. I mean, if that was a level in the pre-market and it couldn't go, and then we took the break and immediately snapped back down, I average back in and then lose. Look, I'm bullish above that 45. Otherwise, I'm going to be very, very patient buying more aggressive dips on Palantir. Seems like that's the way to go.
Yeah, we're getting a little aggressive too now with Rocket. It seems like it wanted to hold that VWAP there. So let's just see if this continues. I mean, It was a big report on Friday. We got a big, huge move on Friday with Rocket, which is exactly what we wanted, man. We got from 20 up to 24.20, and then it just faded the rest of the day. I'm wondering if that happens again right now. So we're not going to go too heavy, but we are loaded up now on Palantir, just seeing if it breaks that view up. I mean, we have backside support on Friday. I mean, there isn't much. It's 23, and we're way higher than that. So we are into that today. 23 kind of holds on the downside. It breaks it. Never came back since the break, but we are kind of testing some view up here. So let's just load up a little bit here on Rocket and see. I mean, we just got to get like above this, man. 23.95-ish. Then we can go, and I think Rocket can retest the highs, especially with the NASDAQ starting to go. We're still holding faith on Palantir. And then, you know what? Wow, DraftKings. I mean, a big celebration for DraftKings. That's been an idea of mine basically since the 30s. Those of you that have watched the show know that. That's why if you want to follow me on Twitter, on Instagram as well, I'm posting some of those plays up. You may like that. So we're going to watch out for DraftKings, man. A big position now in my account. I think I got to do what Mark Roberts says now and pair some off. We are so heavy into DraftKings in the 30s that will take a double all day long. DraftKings up another 9% today, guys. Wow.
And going to go with shredding up CCL here, sustaining that break. It looks like no dip to that 50. I don't have to worry about that just yet. It is still trending through that 75 mark. There was a 50,000 share order that sort of refreshed at 75. Once it pushed through, it took a little bit more out on the north side of that. And the rest of my shares are going to be in the 27.80 to 28 range to cover the position completely, and then look for a 28 break. NIO is actually NIO testing this 49.25 high and cannot break through. So Neil's trying to break the high. CCL is breaking out. That trade's working. And it's time to go over to the small cap recap. I think I missed this one at the top there, Brendo. Good luck.
Hey guys, yeah, small cap time. Let's talk about what we were looking at before the open this morning. Ecor is the one I was mentioning. I was talking about every time this thing pops up on news, it immediately gets faded back to the downside. Today, it's showing a lot more strength, though. I mentioned 3. When I mentioned this in the pre-market, I was watching 3, and then the highest level I mentioned was 350. So yeah, it was just this kind of consolidation from very early this morning, 350. So working back down to 320 now on that move, but a little bit stronger today. So one that could be worth a watch tomorrow as well. APEN, another one that was up in the pre-market here, 650. Gave you a really obvious resistance point there heading into the open. Down to 550 now on APEN. It was obviously a lot higher, as you can see. Let's go over one more time to ASLN, the other one that gave you a really clear resistance point here just in front of 7. So 690 to 7 was a bit of an area. You could have had this for an hour and a half at any point you wanted in that consolidation. We're down to 540. So broke 7 to the downside. We're at 540 on ASLN, guys. Back over to you.
All right, NIO. Wow, NIO continues to go, man. We were dead right about buying this name, but not dead right about holding it. I mean, we got out around 49, and now it's starting to take off as the NASDAQ looking to make new highs again on the day. I think it actually is new highs now. Just breaks through that 13,120 there. And just to give you guys a look, man, Palantir fading off hard. So it's coming right back down, doing the exact opposite of the NASDAQ. So once again, man, we hitch our wagon on the wrong horse here because it's not going to the upside. But our rocket, though, nice little move. Buying the 70s, buying the 60s, out right there, 85, 84, something like that. 80, I think it was 85. 85 upside there. So now we'll wait. We're trying to get through that 90 level. If that can happen, then we like Rocket even more. But right now, man, Palantir, wrong wagon here. Wrong horse, right wagon. But it's wrong here. It's coming to the downside. Thought it would take off a little more than this, and it's not.
Yeah, and just going to get that other push here, and CCL is going to continue to work out for me. I actually talked about that dip to 25 in Palantir. It's here. I got 02s. Tried to get some 01s, didn't get them. But remember, 28 is a different trade altogether for me in CCL. I want to take the even break, which means I'm about to be all flat on this long. Look, it didn't dip down to 27.70. It's been only heading upbound since that 27.65 break. So just a couple more fills, and we'll be all flat on that for the nice little win on CCL, and then looking for that 28 break. If you got that 49.25 top break on NIO, congratulations. When you do breakout trades, sometimes you miss it. You buy the dips. It's easy to catch it on the way down. It's already at 50. I didn't get it, unfortunately, so I missed that breakout trade on the execution. There goes Palantir a little bit, but, I mean, not too far. Only at like 5s, 6s, and 7s for now. I need this thing back at the quarters.
We would definitely want that back in the quarters there. If we can get that, we will take it. But right now, Palantir not doing too much. I just looked at AMD, and the thing about it is I kind of like this 85, 15-ish area, like kind of up here. But it was a big move. Brendan brought this to us. It was talking about the semis being kind of weak today, and they are only up that 0.5%. But we were down on the day while the NASDAQ was up. And look what's happening right now. The NASDAQ getting even more elevated here. So this is not working out. So, I'm wondering about a fade here. Fading back down through, using that 85.15 as a high. But again, like long Rocket, long Palantir, short AMD would mean that I'm kind of going against the market here. I want to be long some of these names as the NASDAQ now taking out new levels. We know the NASDAQ can go up that 2+%. It's going to be a slippery slope on these growth names until Friday when we do find out, wow, DraftKings almost up 10, as we do find out what the fever is about the U.S. jobs. And then that will help us lead to inflation, which will help us lead to some answers on some of these growth stocks, guys. Brendan, give it to us, bud.
Another one from last week, guys. Earnings last week on this one. Etsy, what a move. Etsy, 7, almost 8% here. 238 coming into play there on volume. That last little push from 224. Support almost to these highs, 240 on the daily chart, guys.
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking about that choice between Walmart and Target, I mean, you could literally say between any of those names and Etsy, and actually might make sense to be looking at both of those names. CCL, I'm gonna have to take a look here, but I did put a break-even trigger for the last 20% of my position, and it looks like there was a bad wick that got me out. I was trying to get the rest in the 90s. It's a winning trade's a winning trade, but you can see me out of that stock, and I look over, and it's at the 80s. It did not break 27.65, so I'll take a win on the last of the shares, but a bad trigger there. Trying to bust back up, and this is what I talked about Palantir needing to break towards those quarters. I got the first 10% out here when it spiked about 10 pennies in the money, the 01s and 02s long. It is what it is. It looks like we're trying to go, but this is looking a little bit weak. I'm not going to let 25 break on me. Now, there isn't a gigantic order here, but I just feel like if it does break 25, you're now retesting those low ranges that we saw earlier in the session when it was like 24.75. So if it's going to retest that, I might as well try to dig in at that price. Give this only a couple of cents for a scalp trade, and then see if it can bounce at a lower range. The market is strong. This looking rather weak, and another name which is not exactly screaming to the upside, but is up 8%. And this was an ugly break at 53. I mean, I'm glad I wasn't involved. Maybe you get 60, 70 cents right away, but if you're not fast, you get burned to the downside. Plug making a run at that same high. I love these the second time through. This break fails everybody here. Through 53, 53.20 actually, if you want to get technical about it. But if it comes a second time, I'm not afraid to take it, and it looks like a little bit better, whether it's at lunchtime or in the afternoon. Brendan?
This little MOGO going again today, MOGO on the NASDAQ, 15%, guys. There's decent levels around this area. On the daily chart, 920, but just broke $9 there on a volume spike for MOGO.
Okay, so Palantir finally breaks. So, I mean, like, we started to get out a little bit here, 25s, 30s. We realized that was a weak stock. So we're holding very, very small now. But what's been working for us, and again, we got to get off. I told you, we put our, I don't know if I was right, the wagon on the wrong horse with Palantir. We'll get that saying right. But we're right with Rocket here. I mean, stick with some stocks that are pretty strong. We've just emptied out of more than half, more than almost actually 2/3 of our Rocket trade as it goes right back up to 24. That was a key level, man. I mean, this breakout 24.20 was fantastic as well, but we took 24. It only goes 20 pennies. Then we averaged in down here, supporting this VWAP, took it out. So that was a nice little 30-cent win. You can see what we have now, 67s on board there. And then there's Palantir, like it does that same dance again, man, right back down here. So I think we just got to wait maybe to buy and to see if these are the right levels for Palantir, but I don't want to keep stepping in to this name. It's been fine. It's not a huge loser, but it's a negative stock today. So we'll wait on Palantir to see if that can do something. Good on you, Brittany Murphy. You talked about Plug Power at the same time that we went long Facebook. I think that was about 50, I think that was about here, like 51.20 or so, or was it? Oh, it was down here, I think 51.20, so that was a good one, up to 52.60. But now, all these names, man, the NASDAQ might have just made a high. Some of them coming off here, so let's just wait to see. But not Rocket, 23.90, we took that out. I'm going to try to build another position here, man. XOM up 6% today. Wow, I don't know if there was news on that. I know what Crude is doing some dances as well, but look at XOM, guys. Wow, monster move.
Yeah, that's a it's not insignificant for an XOM. You got to watch out. Energy play has been a solid one, but I didn't see that move coming at all. VACQ, now we talk about our watch list, of course. Guys, you got to get over to the website because that's where it is going to be housed. But VACQ, Vector Acquisition, this is an interesting partner up, guys, because Rocket Lab, the satellite company here, we're up like 30%. Now, a lot of times we've been seeing a lot of these SPAC mergers sell off when the actual deal gets announced. There was that in the pre-market, but big ramp up right towards this little high, and thank you, Brendan, for pointing it out. Pre-market high is 1350, double top. It just made another push in here, failing shy of that, so I love that setup. I grabbed some shorts here at 19. I mean, of course, I'd rather have some in the 30s and 40s, using the high of the day as an out. But there's also this little weird level here at 13. A couple of times it's sort of based out at that price. If it breaks 13, I think I want to actually short through a break of 13 even. So I'll have a look to see if I can't get more shares at a better price off the high of the day. But then scalp some out in front of 13, take more 13s as the short side on a break. I want to be fading this off that high, and that's going to be the play. What's going to be, now, Dash was my best trade this morning, DoorDash. Of course, that's short off of the open, but probably the best call and the worst idea ever was when I looked over at ZOM and then didn't take that 01. So we talked about that too even. Shout out to whoever mentioned this one in the chat. And of course, it was an active stock and worth looking at. Yeah, right through to the high of day. So I talked about it being a 5-10 cent scalp. Well, you got your 20 there if you like it. It is back into what I think can be starting to be some resistance. I talked about 25s, 30s, 35s to the upside in ZOM where I might be fading it. We're getting rather close to that, and just because I miss a long doesn't mean I'm going to shy away from the short. It is what it is. You got to move away from the trades you missed. Go on to the next one. That's what it's about in this business. And I'll be watching that 2-quarter on ZOM.
What's up,
Brendan?
Not a huge move, guys, but Apple having a nice day. Some of the tech names, bigger tech names, coming back into play a little bit. Just got above that last little high there from Friday afternoon on volume. 3% today for Apple. They said all of their U.S. retail stores are now open, guys.
Yes, sir. A nice little long here on Facebook. There through 50. It gets as high as O's there, so that's a quick little 50 cents there. We took some out. Ding, 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 ding. To the upside goes Facebook now, as we'll ring the register there. And then I do like what you're talking about there with Apple. All stores now open, so we're all go there. That's a nice little story. 125.25 there for the top of Apple. We could zoom back out a little bit just to see what we were working with on Friday. It's up that 3% off again. A big move down on some rebalancing there. So yeah, this could probably take out the high, especially if the NASDAQ goes 125.25. Let's buy some more Apple. That's Facebook now. 50 cents now in the money. But I do like that Apple trade, Brendo.
All right, guys, 45 minutes, and we're going to have another great guest coming up today. Relay Medical. That is over top of me, but that's fine. Clark Kent going to join us from Relay Medical and tell us about some really interesting technology that they have in the works and already out in the marketplace. So stick around for that 11:15 for Relay Medical. Guys, it is 10:30. That means Valeria is watching what's going on over in Europe. Positive over there as well, V.
Right, Brandon. European markets are positive, boosted by optimism around vaccination program. IAG trading in London is up more than 6% after Peel Hunt upgraded stock to buy. Back to you.
Yeah, it seems like everyone loving the vaccine news today, guys. 2 possible new vaccines over in Europe. We had the Johnson & Johnson in the U.S., as we talked about, guys.
Yes, sir, we absolutely do. And we also have NEO earnings coming after market. We mentioned this at least several times here today. Now, of course, I can say all I want about buying that dip and then covering in front of 49 and then take the 49.25 break. I don't get it, obviously, but it's now coming back and giving you some consolidation, at least in front of it. So what I'm going to try and do is build a position in this consolidation in front of that quarter. So very, very similar. Just got some here at 45. I'd buy some more if I could in the 30s. Use that 25 as a bit of an out. If it comes all the way to VWAP, I'd rather that be a separate trade here because we can take advantage of, there's no need for me to only have one trade. As you can see, I basically have, 1, 2, 3. Now this is the 4th time I'm really getting into a long here in NIO. And if it breaks 49.25, my 5th trade would be off of VWAP around that 48.70 or so on a bit of a dip. So let's work into NIO one more time here, at least for now. I want to go to this Morph stock that Brendan had mentioned. It actually halted on the way up, made another push to 70, and is now coming back in. So the sort of exponential move that you saw is starting to really, really fade. And I'm looking at this like sort of post-halt low, like 57 even. If it breaks that, I want to be short. Just got to make sure I have the locates on this name. And be careful. It's done 2.5 million shares, but this spread a second ago was $1.50. Right now, only 50 pennies. So got to cross aggressively. You're not wrong till it breaks like a couple of dollars on you at least.
So we're waiting for Apple here to come in. I mean, and if it's going to break back down below 155.40 or so like that, then we will get out. But right now we're going to go long on Apple around this area if we can get it, like right here, like 90, 91, 92-ish. Just bringing it back into this area. We'll wait to see what happens. Downside 124.50. NASDAQ obviously turning, just giving us that opportunity. There we go. So now we're into Apple. So that just gave us an opportunity to buy it. So now we'll wait to see. But we are long 124.94 right now on Apple. Looking at this high of the day of 25. I don't mind taking that out if it comes. But right now we'll average into this trade, use it to the downside. So yeah, right now we'll average a little bit more. We'll just see if the NASDAQ keeps going. Apple all stores a go, according to Brendo, and that makes sense. I see the news here as well. So the only thing is, we also are long Facebook here. So Facebook long, having a problem, the same levels. We're pretty light on this one. So let's focus more on Apple right now. Rocket going upside. Facebook, Apple, Rocket, and Palantir are the 4 longs that I have. And they're not doing great. But let's take another piece off right now on Facebook, and then let's focus more on Apple here.
Yeah, now I'm going to wait for that deeper pullback on NIO. We did chase a little bit with that 49.25 on the pullback. If it wants to go to VWAP, that's where I'm going to like it a little better. I got the order in on Morph, so if that does break 57, you're going to see me trigger in. And VACQ, which is heading back down towards that 13. Now remember, this had a... Look, you can call it an iceberg all you want, but it was just like in either direction. It was sort of a resistance point and support, whether you want to call it that, and then a jump off just a few minutes ago. That failed at the high of day. That's why I'm rolling into a short. I definitely will have some out in front of that bid at 13, and then even look to add. If there's any level there at the time, I'll probably add to that short trade. Of course, the next stop, if you can't tell, VWAP here at around 75, and then from there 12.50. So it feels like the quarters and the 50s on VACQ are a good way to trade this name.
Okay, so believe it or not, I was waiting here at 16. It just went to 15 there. Let's see. Come on, hit 16 so you show that I'm not lying on this one. Man, 125.16 we're waiting at. We probably should go. I mean, I don't know why we're chomping at the bit here. We could just sacrifice 1 or 2 pennies there. I don't know why it stops at 15, but there it goes to the upside now is Apple, and we took a little bit off. You can see by the chart. Let's just take out another piece here at 10s or so. It does stop. Oh, did I get those 16s? No, we only got 11s and 12s. So we were hoping for right about here, breaking through 15, but that doesn't happen. So the NASDAQ now, let's go NASDAQ. You just tried to come back down. Let's see if it can hold these tops and then break higher. And I think we got the right name. Apple is going to be a good one for this. Where's my Facebook trade? There it is, still 40 cents in the money. We're light on this. We only have 5% left, so we're waiting. Rocket, a nice, beautiful win on Rocket, man. We really built this bottom there, so that was a good trade for us to the upside. And then I've sort of just given up on Palantir, believe it or not, so we'll wait. I mean, if it breaks through 25.15 again, we'll try it, but ultimately it needs to get up here. It needs to get going. If we can break through 45 happily, then that's good, and then we need to break through 25.60. So I'm just going to switch gears like I tend to do often and go, well, not too often, but go over to Apple now and just say, you know what? This is stronger, up 3%. The NASDAQ makes sense to me. NASDAQ move, Apple move. We know this is a big name. Now there's some catalysts there. So this is good. Rocket's good and Facebook's good. So we're going to stick with these names and see if we can't make a little bit more money here. What's up, Brendo?
We saw some positivity coming back into this group back on Friday. If you remember, Microvision talking about those LiDAR companies. This one got all the way down to 14 or 14.20 and put in a nice bounce, but we're all the way to 18 here, guys. Up another 16% for MVIS.
Oh, MVIS strong. I saw that one in the chat a little bit. You guys talking about that name, Vacuum. I'm just gonna call it Vacuum, whatever. It got that consolidation rollover off that high of day. First level to actually just hit there below that 13.10. I am going to get some out, as I said before, that 13, most of it, and then get back into some shares on a 13 even break. That one looks locked and loaded and ready to go. The market is heading towards those highs, and there's a couple of names which are also trying to make pushes back up. ZOM is actually one of them, and I'm looking at this. It's not 220, it's 219 here. Just bounced off VWAP, testing its pre-market, well, it's not really pre-market, opening range top, and then a double top here at 219. Of course, I'm likely to favor the 220. I just want to show you guys Really not a lot of shares here on that offer, but both of these levels are stacked. The reason why I wouldn't take long on a 19 break is because, hey, look, there's a bigger level here at 20. This is actually more shares than we're on the bid at 2 even, and of course that reversal worked rather nicely. Likely you'll see me dip into like an 18 short, maybe even a 19 short with a reversal of 20 even breaks. But ZOM looks good for that little setup. It's that time of day where I do like, if I can get it as close to that top as possible, short with a long reversal play. So scalp the short, maybe make like 4 or 5 cents on it, maybe a little bit more than that, and then try to take that long break for the same thing going into that 2/4 to 230 range.
Okay, good. So just a quick little recap here. Rocket, man. I mean, what a great trade that was. So we'll put a smile on our face here as that continues to work and do exactly what we thought it would. Right back to day's high. I'm just pissed off that I still, not pissed off, but we had those options that we got up for flat. That would have been huge if this sort of action happened on Friday. But of course, the market was down. So ho hum on that one. We can't do much on that when that's happening. So that's Rocket. Big trade there. Apple, we've just been getting some out. Like the NASDAQ, this is what we're talking about, man. The NASDAQ breaking higher and Apple not. So this is a little bit of a concern. So we do have these long at 90s. So now we're dumping them at like 11s, 12s, 13s here. And now it's coming back to the downside. So don't really understand this move on Apple. It should be going higher now. Maybe it's a little exhausted. I mean, the same thing. I don't know why. It's only up 3%. It can go more. Facebook, the same kind of thing. Like I just would have thought with NASDAQ breaking, some of these guys would be a lot higher, and they're not. So it's a little bit of a concern for me. Looks like Rocket obviously is the one moving. We could check out on JP Morgan just to see what some of the financials are doing. I mean, 150 even, whatever. This is going to be the story for JP Morgan, up that 2% and a good look there as well. So I don't know, man. Apple's just not giving me too many good feels here, as we'll just wait to see what it wants to do. But we'll pick up some more on the downside and then see if it takes off. But right now, Apple big time lagging this market. I don't like it.
Yeah, you know I'm not going to look that gift horse in the mouth when it comes to that VACQ. Just adjusted in order. I was literally sitting at 05 and then like, what am I doing? I just took some out at 06 because finding some support in front of that 13. I'm going to go back to this E-Core and again on volume it spikes to the high of day. It's like the second time I missed it fail at the pre-market top. This is 368 is the high. 370 is what I would sort of round that up to. But again on volume, if this takes out 370, I'm actually looking to play this in the other direction. So if it breaks 370, I'm kind of looking for that failure at either 375 or 4, and then to short it when it breaks back down below. So I want a failed breakout idea here in E-Core. If it does get there, looks like it's rather close to testing it. I see an absolute sea of blue on the big screen, so let's go to Brendan and Sector Watch.
Hey guys, yeah, one of those days where kind of hard to find negativity today. Pretty much the entire market to the upside so far. There are a few individual names here that are in negative territory, but overall broad-based advances. We're up 2.1%. So it's been a long time since we've had 2% advance for the overall S&P 500. To this side of the board, you can see information technology, consumer discretionary shares. So all of the tech stocks are in positive territory. There are a few down here in the semiconductor group in the red, but overall semis are starting to kind of bounce back a little bit. I was talking about a few of them that were in negative territory or kind of lagging the strength we were seeing in the overall market. Have a look at the software names: LDOS, PayPal, PayC, and DXC, 3.5 to 4.5%. To the upside. HPQ, 5% higher today. NTAP, and yeah, there's Apple, 3.18% still in positive territory. Industrial stocks, wow, the entire group, not even a single name in negative territory here. UAL, AAL, Alaska, we talked about the reopening trade. All of the airlines very positive. Yep, there's Boeing, 6.4% today. GE right below it. 5.4% today in positive territory. The entire banking group is very strong as well. So outside of what we saw over the past couple of weeks with the tech stocks and some of the airlines, travel-related names lagging the overall market, financials were leading at that point. We're seeing the entire thing higher today. Healthcare, materials, utility stocks. There's this little NRG stock, 16.25% today, leading that group. Yeah, energy stocks, very strong. OKE, Oxy's here, 5.1%. XOM was mentioned, 5.5% today, guys. Take your pick. They're all strong, 2.15% for the overall S&P, guys. Back to you.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of strong, you get RCL here despite the share offering, looking to try to turn positive on the session. Now that'll be 93.27, but another level I'm looking at off the open, this would be like 93.10. This little break here is going to be 93.17. You can see in the pre-market a little bit of resistance at that same price. If it breaks that 15, 16 area, I'm going to go long on a break of RCL. I mean, I like this one. And then they came with the offering and sort of got smoked in the pre-market. Now making a bit of a low. It bounced off 90. It's trying to break out through this little level in the pre-market. The market is screaming towards those highs. It's also that reopen play. So we're going to get this one locked and loaded to go for that breakout trade to the upside on RCL. I do want to come over, and I saw a few people in the chat talking about Sundial for some reason, and I can't see anything that's interesting about this here. So and usually I'll be all over Sundial if it's moving, but just so you guys know, I'm probably not going to touch this. It's like a 4 or 5 cent range since the open and doing absolutely nothing despite some movement in cannabis. Looks like ZOM did not want to get towards that 218, 219 for me to short it. It's coming right back down here. I still like both ends of that trade, short in front of that 1920, and then a long break if 220 does go, but ZOM already peeling back a little bit here.
ZOM, yeah, good look on that one. Okay, guys, like look at this. Rocket Mortgage, we just took Rocket Companies. We just took some out there, 244.40 off of that long. We did tweet that out as well. Follow on Twitter if you want. And I'm just wondering if any of you guys also holding some of your positions there. Hit that Twitter link there and you'll find out. Facebook, 81 cents now. Yes, sir, as we go rocket ship to the moon. Not for Rocket, but for Facebook. Nice long. We first initially picked up the long here at 259. Then again on this 260.50 break. Should have got a little more aggressive at this 260 mark, but missed it. Just had an order planted in there, so that was a good trade for us. That's Rocket Mortgage, that's Facebook. And then Apple, I canceled the day high break, guys. We canceled the day high break. But look at BTC as Bitcoin. I mean, what else are we supposed to do here, guys? So we'll just say that we'll smile, whatever. Yesterday, again, if I can show you guys, we talked about this. This is why maybe not. You want to follow on Twitter. We talked about this yesterday. I'll pull it up again. Look at this tweet yesterday, guys. 11:30 a.m. Looking to pick up some more Bitcoin down here. What's your opinion? Over 50 people responded, and I'd already picked some up. Look at this, guys. 44,000. We put some in our pipe, and there it is, 49. We ain't out yet, so we're going to keep on this train. There's a nice little Bitcoin run, so that aged well. So we're in that one, and then look, man, we put our money where our mouth is. We're also trading Ether, so right now we're long ETHE right here, long. Now we're breaking up to the upside here as well. So ETHE moving around for us, but everything moving now. Apple, days high. Facebook, 80 cents in the money. Ether, Palantir, and Rocket all moving for us, guys.
Yeah, watch out because as you see that push towards that 50,000, SOS, of course, also looking to try to take out some highs here. 725 24 current top. You go back over the last week, there was some resistance at that particular price when it tried to bounce off of 672 there, or 670s or so. So 725 is going to be a top end break for me. Momentum plays me in and out of it rather quickly, guys, especially if I have an overall negative sentiment. Like this is the name I want to short on any weakness in Bitcoin. Of course, you have the short seller report, and it looks like they're going to the upside. So 725, bit of a break. I still like this thing for a 650 breakdown if it ever comes, but it feels like the top is going to get broken first. I can come back over to vacuum or VACQ. VACQ. It's still trying to break this 13 price. So we got that consolidation. We got out most of it in front of 13. I want to be adding on a 13 break and then taking some out in front of 1275. So that's the next shoe to drop on VACQ. So far, so good. And of course, we don't want to get too far away from that ZOM trade. I still like it. It still looks relatively strong, but the only problem is volume starting to taper off. You guys actually can't see. Let me go. Just do it really extreme for you guys. Volume really starting to taper off here as we head back down towards VWAP. So without a really big volume spike, like if we don't actually get a spike in volume going into that 220, I'll still like to fail trade or fade trade, like shorting in front of it. But that breakout at 220, I'm not taking it if I don't get volume spiking back up, at least to some of these levels around like 1030 or so. Volume matters, and I don't think there's going to be much follow through unless you get a spike into that high of day. So unfortunately, it does look like ZOM is going to sleep a little bit. I don't think that's the case with SOS, however.
All right, so Apple does go right back, and again, we just cleaned it up. So now we're out of Apple, we're out of that one. We'll wait to see if it takes out the day's high now, and if it does that, then we will go back long, but we're gonna use like these outs as our outs, man. Like 124.80 or so, there it goes, Apple. So now we're in. So we're into Apple here at 26s, takes out that 25. You know, we could fall down on this. I don't know, but we're going to wait to see as the NASDAQ, you know, it's resisted this 124.80 a bunch of times. So we'll just see if it wants to do that again. And if it does, then we'll get out. So right now, Apple holding for higher movements. If we go to a 3-minute chart, I don't know what's going to show. Let's go 5 minutes. We've been downside the last couple of days, right? So there's really going to be nothing here. What is this level? I mean, I guess there's something here. This level, 126.12. So that's about $1 higher than that right now. Again, don't know if we ever get to that level, but 125.12, a good little spot for us. We're going to try to hold this about 30 cents against us. So Apple could wind up not being the apple of our eye down to 124.50. We take out that day high, and of course the NASDAQ turns on us. So let's wait to see.
Yeah, I'm going to go with this crazy little moonwalk here because I talked about this 13 being important on VACQ. Yeah, I just got more shares out, and right at that 13 level, it is holding like an absolute champion here. Dark pool prints, you see, it took out that entire bid, and then look at all of this going off. All these dark pools printing, thousands of shares, about 10,000 just one off in one block. So that's what an iceberg order looks like. That's what this level is. And this is the reason why I'll take profit in front of it. And then if it does break, I want to be adding to my short. I've taken basically 75% off and then want to get back in only if that level breaks. If it retests the high, I will not average into this. If we hold 13 and then ramp, we're probably taking out the high of the day, or at least testing that high of day. So no average back in at that 13.25 mark for VACQ. It either breaks 13 here or bust for me. Just to come back over to, Sean already just talked about Rocket, so I want to go back over to that RCL. I do like that break still, if it does take out that like 93.17, but it just dipped back into VWAP market, still off those highs. It worked bouncing off VWAP once. So as much as I like the breakout trade, I'm not going to shy away from buying on this dip, maybe giving it to like a 91.75 or so. But for now, let's go to Miss V at the big screen.
Hey guys, Beyond Meat is a popular name on the chat, trading on a high volume. Do you see any opportunities for yourself in BYND, guys?
Okay, so Beyond Meat I got killed on Friday because we loved the long, and then you could see it just never really came in, especially, I mean, bang to the downside, and then it kind of based out here. So I like Beyond Meat for a very, very long term, not very, very long term, but for a long-term play. I don't think you can go wrong buying this name. I think it's definitely a change in the way people are viewing food. So no GMOs, no nothing. I just think it could be a nice little rally to the upside here. But for a day trade, I'm going to stay away. I don't want my bias to hit it, but I like the long again on Beyond Meat. Unfortunately, though, that report that they had, like, this was the thing. Like, you know, they reported on Thursday, drops all the way down, 128, 129, you know, some downside risks there. Then it just bangs itself to the upside again, up to 170. Hammers all the way back down into this area. So I think you have some support here. 144, 145, something like that is a decent little level. And now we're upside as I just zoom back over to today, where we are now at the bottom of the day. So I think this is worth picking some up if you did like it for a longer term. But right now, like, I don't know why this thing is retracing so much and bouncing around. So I'm going to stay away from a day trade, but I do like it for a longer term aspect. Thank you for the question. What's up, Brent?
Yeah, I got to look into Beyond Meat today. I haven't brought that one up. Vuzi, guys, 9.5% here. Once again, another one that had earnings last week, better than expected earnings for VUZI. Nothing new today that I can see, but up 9%, was 10% off the bat here this morning. 2050 coming into play for VUZI.
Vuzi, not Uzi, but Vuzi. I want to go to this APEN. Now, we talk about all the reasons why you have to trade things that have a catalyst, and that's why this particular name on the watch list, literally the last one, Apollo Endosurgery here. And anytime, look, I'm gonna have missed out on this short trade. Now, obviously, you see this little spike going to like $11, and this is like 6:30 in the morning, so hard to catch that. Maybe I should have had a rollover over here at like 8 o'clock, but previous close at 470, and it gets all the way down to 540, and then makes this little base here just a little higher. I just want to zoom back in so we can get rid of that perspective. And forms this little wedge before breaking out. So that's a setup I've seen now a couple of times on these retracements, and got to start taking them. So if I see this again where it's like 10% off the previous day's close or anywhere closer than that, makes a bottom and then gives you a nice little wedge potential break, You get a 10% move up, you give it to that low of the day, you're essentially risking 15 pennies to make about like 2 to 3x on that. And then if it continues to run, maybe you can even hold for more than that. Either way, it's a setup I like, so I'm going to go with that. I just got into that RCL. I do like the breakout trade, of course, but I said if we can hold like this 91.75. I mean, VWAP's 92. 91.75, the last dip worked. I'm going to take this dip here. I got 92.20s, risk about 50 pennies to see if we can't make about that on average before that 93.17, 93.20-ish area break, which I'm still going to take. I still like RCL for the breakout, but it worked once buying this little dip. If you took it, I didn't. Just notice the setup here in the chart. I'm going to take it here this time on RCL. So one long, I still have that vacuum short. That iceberg is holding like a charm at 13 even. So that short can't work till it busts through 13. For now, we're going to the big screen and Brendan for Money Talks.
All right, quick look at currencies, guys. We'll head over to Bitcoin. First off, want to talk about 46,000, 47, then 48, all broken on the way to the upside. Just took out 49,000. Guess what's next? 50 back again for Bitcoin. Really nice day here. 49,300, up 8% at the moment. Ethereum and Ripple both following along as well. 1549 once again for Ethereum, 8.5%. That was down around 1,400 when we spoke about it on Friday. Elsewhere, as far as currencies are concerned, the underlying weakness overall in the US dollar really coming back into play once again today. You can see Canadian dollar leading the way to the upside, 0.6%. There was some economic numbers out this morning in Europe that were a little bit to the downside, so 0.25% to the downside here for the euro, 120.5. Canadian dollar, though, back to 79.6%. Higher today. British pound about flat at this point. Japanese yen, Swiss franc both higher on the day. Australia, New Zealand, same story. Turkish lira, big move down today, 2.3%. And when you're talking about cryptos, we mentioned Ethereum actually leading the way now, but Bitcoin did touch day highs just moments ago, guys. Back above 49,000. Back over to you.
Good. And SOS, that's a failed breakthrough that for now it's a failed breakthrough. That's 725. I mean, I just took it to the long side, immediately snaps back down and gives you that we'll see if it's a head fake. This is not necessarily, I talked about it on eCore that I was definitely going to take it if it did a failed break to the short side. But SOS, I didn't want to fade into it because I have to watch out the fact that we are still heading towards that 50,000 in spot price. And I only want to go short if we're actually failing off of one of those levels, which is not the case of what I'm seeing here. So not going to reversal into the short, even though it is a failed break on SOS through that long. That does take me over to eCore because I want to make sure this particular name, which I do like. I actually do like this one if it does get to that 370. If it fails to break through there, I'm going to take that one short. The other way I'm taking it is if it breaks 3 even. And then, of course, I told you vacuum. And I showed you guys this for a reason, that iceberg order that was there at 3. Yeah, because when it bounces off a level like that, you don't want to fight it. I get out essentially at break even when 1330 goes. My last entry was at 1328. I can always get back into this trade. If 13 gets taken out, I'm going short anyways. If it goes to that high of day, I can play off the high of day trade. But anytime you see a level like that hold, there's no reason to just sit there blindly in your last 20% and then just throw it away. I mean, you can lose like 15, 20 pennies on it for no reason. So I'll get out break even. I'm going to go short of 13 breaks, and I'm going to look for that high of day to play off of that level. So it'll be a successful short for me. But if I don't notice that iceberg at 13 even, I'm actually still sitting in this trade and wondering what to do next, guys. Got to watch the level 2 and that time in sales as a bit of a guide. The charts are great, but there's a bigger story to be told sometimes when you look at that level 2 and you can see an iceberg like that at 13.
All right, so hot dog trade time again. Let me put a 1 minute. Might look a little bit better here. Is Apple, guys. One of my number one stocks now today, as you can see. Defended that. We wouldn't really defend anything. It dips down there. We take that long against this bottom, and then it breaks the high of the day there, and then we get some out at 58.60s. So right now, 20-cent win for Apple. That one's moving around for sure. A nice little win, and we get some more off right now as the NASDAQ just up that 2% now. Wowee woo-wee as that continues to move to the high side. Someone on the chat there, 100%. 2502, like 2503, 2502, something like that on Palantir. Someone mentioned that, yo, this is not moving, and 100%. It's had a hard time the last couple of days going up, even when the market starts ripping. So this was, like, look at this move, man. From 10 o'clock, I mean, it's 9 o'clock because this is Chicago, but basically, oh, you can't see? Let me move this up. Basically, from 10 o'clock, straight upside here. Look at Palantir. This is 10 o'clock, man, like right here. So, like, we're down since 10 o'clock. So Palantir not watching the market at all. We'll have to wait. It looks like it just wants to move overnight when everybody realizes that Kathy Wood bought some. Who cares? I mean, it matters, but I mean, Palantir during the day, not a great trade. I still think we see 40. But look at this one. I mean, there it goes. Trade the best names out there. What's up, Morgan Brennan? Trade the best names up there as we go to 125, 65, 67, 68. Still going to the high side right now. Goes Apple. A nice little 50-cent win here to go with 35 cents on Rocket. We just need a Palantir to go, but we're light on that one. A beautiful win right now. So we'll do a little wink action for you on Apple as that just continues to go high side. Congratulations, anybody that picked up some of those bottoms in the NASDAQ. It looks like it's worked out quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, and the ES, which is literally at its high of the day here, guys, and you're watching that strength in the market. I can tell you NEO is trying to test towards 50. I'll watch, I mean, we talked about 49.25, of course, as a break. If you like that one, you're probably going to be interested in 50 if it gets there. This E-Core is now bouncing again. This looks, it's been showing some strength ever since, the shorts were fantastic pre-market. But look at this trend back to the upside. It's trying to consolidate here. If it doesn't make this hold, I still like a short through $3 if it gets there. But for now, it looks like it's about to test through, bounce off. If it bounces off this, we're about to test through to that high of day. And RCL, about break even, but just bounced off 92 even. So I'm going to get that out in front of 93 because I like the 93.15 area break on RCL. They're taking that offering very, very well here on RCL in particular. So with the market up, I like that break. Brennan?
This little in Pixon, I just noticed this was actually 9:30, so not really breaking news here, but in Pixon, INPX just popping up on huge volume here through 150. Might just be a big buy order, but there was an award given to this company for the second straight year. This morning, that was announced, as I said, right at 9:30. But INPX getting some volume, guys.
And getting some volume all day long. And let's not forget, with earnings tonight is NIO. And we talked about the risk of a potential afternoon type sell-off event. You've seen that every now and then happen on a stock which is up going into those earnings, and you are seeing up 8%. There was a couple of decent longs that I've had, but then it's been a mixed result, like 4 different longs. It's going to work off 9:30, and this was a plan we had to do a dip buy. This one mixed result. We got half out for a win, half out for a loss. Then we took that same level, which was resistance before, 48.65, and that was a good long. And then the last consolidation didn't work. So I'm looking for that 50 level. That'll be the next target. I mean, I might short at 50 if I see enough of size there on the offer. Otherwise, let's see what happens if we can bounce back towards 49 and view up and then try and hold that level on NIO. Patience is going to be the name of the game. I can tell you here on ZOM that this is getting... so this is interesting. I'll show you guys this here because you're going to see, and remember when I talked about this 219, 220 area and I wanted to short literally right in front of it? This is when I put that order in at 18, but when you get levels like this, yes, I'm sitting here trying to get shares passively because 1 or 2 cents does matter. I'm not going to chase and then hit that bid. But there's lots of other offers sitting in that book. So just because it got to that price, I can put a line on a chart and say, hey, look, that was where I wanted to get in. I got filled. No, I didn't. I'm waiting at 218. I did not get that fill. So as much as it would be fantastic to be able to say I'm in the money 5 or 6 cents, and that's exactly what I was looking for, ultimately it came and touched that price. I got a sneaking suspicion if I was on a more aggressive gateway, like if I was on a dark pool or if I was on a reverse gateway where I was paying to add liquidity, I might have gotten that fill, but I was trying to be sneaky, catch a rebate, make a little extra cash to get this fill. That's why I missed it. If it comes there again, I will rectify that mistake and be a little bit more aggressive with either a midpoint order or a reverse model gateway where I have to pay to add that liquidity because missed out on a trade because I wasn't aggressive, guys.
And that's it, man. I mean, you got to sometimes adjust, the way you route your orders, where you're offering with, especially. Welcome to everybody that's with us from Day Trade to World. You understand what we are talking about when we talk about order referencing and routing and things like that. Look at Apple, guys. Wow. Still continuing to move higher here as that's looking like a good little name to continue to hold. We just tweeted that out as well. And then, ADA, which is Cardano. Hello, 127, 52-week high, 147. We hit that on the weekend, guys. Mary, they have a lot of work coming on them, a couple different protocols, a couple different things happening today. So watch out for ADA if you are in the crypto space. But right now, we're in Valeria's space. Miss Pink Hair, give it to us.
Hey guys, European markets are in very positive territory on the optimism around global vaccination. Britain is up 1.5%. Germany is up 1.5% also. Spain is up 1.9% and Switzerland is up 1.8%. Logitech trading in Switzerland is up 1.5% after it raised its sales growth outlook to 63% for 2021. Back to the traders.
Thank you very much, Ms. V. Any of you guys that are watching crypto, of course, now you can see approaching that 50,000. By the way, Silvergate was up 8% when we talked about it. Now it's up 16%, and that's off of a pullback. That VACQ, and I talked about that 13, and this one is gearing and gearing up. But I talk about volume tapering. Volume is a little bit low going into this retest of like 1350 or so, whatever you want to call that pre-market high, guys. So I'm going to be watching this one very, very closely. If it continues to fall off, the lower and lower the volume gets, the more I'm going to like that 13 break. So at this point, I haven't changed my order. But if we fail off this 1350 high, and the volume stays kind of where it is right now, like back into this like little lull that we had at 1030, I'm going to be upping the shares on that 13 even break. Remember, it's an iceberg order that has to break. I'm not going to get into that short unless it's beneath that 13 price. I don't want to be shorting in front of it. I want to make sure that that buyer is all gone on VACQ. And then just to come back over, I mean, the market just turned a little bit here, which kind of stinks because I'd like to see us screaming into that high, test that 50 on NIO. But if we're going to have a hard turn, I don't think this particular 49 level is going to hold. I'd look for a deeper push back into this like 48.85 or actual VWAP here on NIO. You want to be a little bit careful here because we teetered at the top and we're up 2%. You don't want to get caught in a rollover in some of these longs. I'm actually out of all of my positions, currently sitting flat and watching this VAQ, which is about to go, watching ZOM and SOS, of course, especially with Bitcoin approaching 50.
Yeah, Bitcoin is on fire right now as we continue to go here. We are watching some Ether, but it's not, I mean, this ETHE is not really doing too much here. Wait a minute, so you can go over to it. 58, 59 is not doing much. We're buying some 60s, but it doesn't want to go. Rocket still going as well, so that looks like that's going to be a nice win for us here. Rocket upside still going 24.09. It did pull back, man. We took that 24.50. That was a great trade. Our Apple now 37 cents in the money. Also, again, like not to toot our own horn, but this was a good trade, and we're in the money 37 cents. That's trying to go make new highs. That's our best out is 70. So that 72 actually, the high of the day. We already got out a little bit there. We're getting lighter and lighter, so it's not like we're trying to rock these things, but we're just getting out now. The market's trying to rebound back up. NASDAQ a big day. Still a little nervous that we pull back. I'm very, very nervous if you haven't been able to tell about Friday. Friday we have the jobs number. I'm very concerned that may not be as good as, it might be too good actually, therefore hit us on the inflation side, which may hit some of these growth stocks, hence why I'll probably get a little light on DraftKings. I was just telling some of our buddies here that too much of my portfolio right now, DKNG, good problem to have. What's up, Bren?
I just saw this one, guys, and I feel like I've been under a rock for about 5 years because Groupon is apparently $53. JP Morgan upgrading Groupon today and increasing its price target. So 52-week highs here for Groupon, guys.
And not actually on the highs, but Fisker is now 11% to the downside. Now, all things in perspective. I mean, this was a break in those teens, and so it was due for a bit of a pullback. But looking for a level on the way back in, and I go back to Friday. It did have a bounce, a pullback and then a bounce around 24 to 24 quarters. So it's about $1 away from that price. It would have to break through 25 even for us to get there. But with the market rolling over, got to start thinking about where you put some dips in. And I'm going to like Fisker around 24 to 24.25. So going to file that price away. And look, if you're looking for a potential breakout trade, and I'm hunting and waiting around for it. Like I could have gone long in front of that 13 on VACQ, but I was more concerned with making sure I got the short. So I didn't want to have two stops, two separate orders to try and get that break to get out of a long and both into the short trade. That's why I'm not actually going long in front. But this is about to go. So 1360, 55 is a high day, of course. You can take like 56. But because it always has like a 4 or 5 cent spread, I'm not going to get 56, 57 when it breaks. I'm probably getting 60, 61, something along those lines here on VACQ. But this does feel like it's about to test that top. And with a 13 support and an iceberg order behind you, definitely a break that we have to have a look at here if it takes that top off. Brendo?
Just reading a headline on Facebook, guys, or Instagram in this case, but Instagram introducing live rooms. You can see viewers can buy badges for hosts, use features like shopping and live fundraising. So three max users can broadcast in these live rooms at a single time. So news on Instagram, guys.
Yeah, we've already been hitting Facebook today, and we actually did quite well on it. We didn't hold it all the way, but Facebook, one of my top stocks. We only have 2 negative stocks, which is Microsoft and Palantir today. Everything else is very nice to the upside. So 259 and change right there, in and out. Bang to the upside again. We hit that Facebook. It goes all the way to 261, but we are coming off a little bit here. But not Apple, man. This was a good one. We'll spin the money for Apple today. 50 cents now in the money on this name and making new day's high for Apple. We still have a piece of that. You can see where we're long 125.26. Here it goes, man. All stores open. NASDAQ looking to get going. And that little dip by at 124.95. Just so sweet on that downside for Apple. So that continues to go, man. Palantir not doing a damn thing. What about AMD? We should have hit that 15s through. Yeah, I knew that. Bounced off VWAP there. We were looking at this 15 break right here. We talked about that earlier. We didn't take it. I guess it wasn't that good. It only went to the 50s. AMD and some of these semis, the laggers. So I think this is probably not the right area to look. I think we did the right job by looking here at Apple and picking up some of those bottoms. And yes, sir, man. You know it. Everybody here that's been following knows it. We're hella long DraftKings. I've been pumping DraftKings for a very, very long time. Now it's 11% up today. And I mean, this is when we were buying it. And if this is not reason enough to follow us every day, or at least on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. We're giving some of these calls, man. Like, I was buying DraftKings hand over fist in here in August. Sure, there's better moves, but this is extraordinary today. And I think that definitely worth taking some out. Can't believe we didn't hit that long earlier through 65. Now up to $68 today and still motoring, man. Rocket and DraftKings, like, definitely, if you're watching my wife, don't spend all that cash. We still need that new TV.
Money. Speaking of the money this morning, at least for me in terms of the best trade, was just that initial push to the downside. I mean, remember DoorDash, guys? I mean, Brendan came with the news right before the open. It was just absolute gold. No share size amount for them releasing some shares there. But it goes 70, 50, all the way down immediately, and I'm going to take profit because you get a flush like that. I took the $3, tried to catch the bottom, and I said 162.50. I want to get out in front of that. It goes to like 64, so I just missed it by about $1 or so. But it's now in this like very sleepy consolidation market at the top. It just made a bit of a high here off of 173, which incidentally, if you look at that opening, that 930, the spike up, it failed at 172.50, like right here. So failed to get to that 173, just turns around, and I'm essentially able to short that same price that was the top of the opening, that opening wick. So if it breaks 73, I'm out. Risking about $1. Of course, we made more than that on Dash earlier. If this breaks back down, I mean, you think you can test 170? You think you can test 169? Get another $2, $3 out of it? I absolutely think so. Like a 2-to-1, maybe even a 3-to-1 win-loss ratio. Look for the stocks that you liked earlier on that you have the better read on. Otherwise, NEO still creeping towards that 50 range, still watching that vacuum. And I'm going to regret this one all morning because we did talk about Disney here through a 194 break, and you can file that one away. It's like the two best breaks are the two ones that I missed out on. And that was 49.25 on NEO that we called, and 194 on Disney, which took you to this 197. So as usual, I can be happy all I want, but I still missed the day trade, which was right here for me. Could have given you like almost a clean $2 or $3 on that move. Like you might have got wicked back on this little pullback to 95s. But either way, it's a clean break on Disney. Now watching this 195, because if the market turns, okay, you can have a long bias all you want, but holds on a pullback twice, holds on a pullback just now. If we do not get back through this high day, 38.95 on the ES and roll over, Disney 195 break down to VWAP does give you a nice little scalp trade for you there. So having a look at that right now.
Okay, so yeah, that's Disney. Have a look with Neil there as well. We're not waiting for any breakdowns. We've got Apple here just breaking upside. This is the daily chart, still a little work to go, but we did pick this one up on the bottom, I think, anyways, up to 126 right now, a 65-cent win here on this. So that's a good play for us. Palantir, I'm holding it just to watch it. Wake up, Palantir. It's not doing anything at all. And then Rocket still on that side as well. But yeah, we did short a little bit of Ether here. So if you guys are interested in some of these plays, we'll get a little more out right now off this short through 55 there. Long. This is one of my better stocks as well today. ETHE. You can check out BTCC.B in Toronto if you're looking at some Bitcoin names as well. Or like you guys know, I don't need to tell you, Riot, Mara, things like that if we go over to Mara right now. And you know what? I need to trade these more. We have some great reads on Bitcoin. And again, you don't see me trading this, so I'm going to do a little bit of work after the show and just see how this relates because we could probably hit this quite well. Up 18% today, Mara. Yeah, why not? I like GBTC. I like the Bitcoin trusts and whatnot a little bit better, but if you're in the equity place here, Mara, Riot, SOS, like Neil's been talking about, SI as well. A lot of different names, Hive as well, and some pink sheet names over there for blockchain. Apple, still high. Let's get out, man, if it breaks back down below like 125.50. But right now, we're celebrating it with hot dogs, guys. It's been a good day.
Yes, sir, and it's about to get better, and because we do have our guest coming up rather shortly, so make sure you tune in for that. Of course, it's going to be really medical with Clark Kent, the president, going to be stepping through. Sean just mentioned crypto, so I want to come back to this SOS. It was a failed break. I actually made some money shorting it this morning, and then I was waiting for this top end to go. Immediate failed break. I didn't short it. I said the reasons why, of course, I probably should have. Look, ignore this wick. It's actually holding above VWAP for the time being. I did say, and I will be doing it, if this ever gets below 6, I'm going to like that for a break, but it's so far away from it that you can't be waiting for that particular price. If it can't hold like a 670 around VWAP here, it did have this on a pullback. I'd probably scalp 670s into 650s, but that's about as far as I could go in terms of fading into this. And just to give you an idea here, whenever there's a failed breakout to a high like this on one of these high-flying stocks, and then we hold, let's say, hold 650, hold VWAP, and then give ourselves an opportunity to retest it in the afternoon, I'm talking 130, 230, power hour, whatever it might be. When it goes and breaks through the same 725, 730 area that failed earlier, that's a great long usually. So a lot of people are saying, hey, but it's a double top that failed. The short was good. They jump into the short. I've done it before, and they get absolutely burned. So I'm looking for a 730 break during power hour or during the second half of the session, definitely. For now, just in that DoorDash short. I did mention that the Silvergate was up. This is another crypto play here. If we do bust that 50,000, which doesn't look like it's going to happen in the short term, but if we do on spot, I would look for a top end break on a lot of these names here. So consolidation, anticipating that another retest of 50 is going to come here. And whether you're taking SOS, whether you're looking at Silvergate, certainly a lot of these names are going to work for you. Mara, heavily traded in terms of volume. Silvergate just had the fantastic move since the open. Wish we'd actually had this, but it's a very, very thinly traded stock. Better for an investment or swing play than a day trade.
You want to know what's better for an investment, guys? Look at Cardano. Thank you to Shakib right there for bringing this in, guys. 132, up another 6.5% today. So Cardano just making moves right now. I brought it to you earlier at 126. It's at 132 and change. I'm not, look, I have a lot of different coins. I just dug into this one. We've been talking about this since 18 cents live on the show. So there it is, 132. Not as fork, some interesting stuff happening today. Check it out. I mean, we don't talk too much about crypto on the show because we can't trade it live. It's not on our platform, but I can just keep bringing it up to you that it's a name that I love, and Cardano with Mary today, a couple different interesting aspects happening to those smart contracts, guys. So take a look there. Apple upside still days high right now on Apple, and we're loving that one as we spin the money through, man. It's been a big day for us. It's 11:15. We are getting ready for our guest, but just to check back here, Ether now still in the money, man. Our best out there, 44 off of a 55 short. Facebook still ripping a little bit. Well, not really. Taking off the bottom from that 261. And Apple, Palantir, Rocket, and Ethereum. Let's go. Those are my 4 positions as we are now ready for our guest of the day with Brendan.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, when it comes to innovation in the medical sector, and I'm talking about really interesting technology, specifically surrounding AI use of prescription medical monitoring and also COVID-19 testing. Our guests today, Relay Medical, are leading the way in both. Clark Kent is president of Relay Medical and joins us from the lab, it looks like, today. Clark, great to have you on the show. Let's start off with a little bit of history when it comes to Relay Medical. Tell us about the company and its recent shift to focus more on COVID-19.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Very, very plainly, we've been in the medical technology business now for several years, specifically in building solutions, hardware and software solutions for monitoring prescription medication use. Last year, we were kind of in the thick of pre-commercial operations with a plan to go commercial with our pharmaceutical adherence technologies. And of course, COVID came in and upset the apple cart just as it did across industries. And we looked at how we could apply our technology, our resources, human resources, and specializations to what was happening at COVID in those early days, and of course, not knowing if that was something that was going to stick around for 30 days or 3 years. We had to make a decision to see what we could do and how we could apply ourselves. We did that. Our CSO is a former infectious disease expert working in medical technologies for many years. And basically what we did was we applied our technology background, our assets, our AI software infrastructure to providing a testing solution for what you can call decentralized, high efficiency COVID testing. And so that's kind of in a nutshell how our history led us to here. Not a complete pivot away from our core business, just as a small company as we are, early days, you have to make those decisions to how you keep the wheels on and how you can address as many possible applications or verticals as you can with the assets you've developed. And that's a big part of what we do. And we're now we're showing that we've done that quite successfully, and we're just in the early stages of us, I think, establishing ourselves as a major player in the COVID testing space.
Clark Kent is president of Relay Medical. Clark, let's talk about this technology and specifically the difference between, everyone hears about these PCR tests. If you've dared traveled in the last couple of months, you've been forced to, undergo these PCR tests. This technology focuses on lateral flow testing. First off, let's talk a little bit about the difference between the two and how we can, maybe hear a little bit more going forward as far as COVID-19 is concerned with lateral flow testing.
Absolutely. So we talk a lot, you hear a lot in the media, rapid diagnostic testing. Of course, the problem that we have is that we need to test as a community. We need to test as many people as we can, as quickly as we can, and continually screen people to make sure that when you're going to work or you're getting on a flight or you're doing these things, that you're doing so without the virus, and you're not likely to spread any illness to the people that you're around, whether or not that's at work or in transit, et cetera, et cetera. The two core, real core testing methodologies that you hear about is PCR, which is a lab-based testing methodology. It's really the first testing that really scaled up for COVID purposes. This requires you, as many people I'm sure watching this have been tested. You get a swab, a nasal swab. That swab goes to the lab, and then within 24 hours, you're going to get results from your test. Lateral flow testing, which the public is not as familiar with right now, just looks like this. So, simply put, basically the same type of technology or the same type of application as a pregnancy test, which everybody's familiar with. You're going to take a sample, a biological sample, whether or not that be blood or saliva, swab of the mouth, swab of the nasal canal for antigen test or antibody testing, which will be the future once the vaccine is kind of scaled and we have more adherence to that. You do a blood test, and that will tell you whether or not you have the antibodies built up or you have had the vaccination. These tests are manufactured by multiple companies, all of the big players, Roche, Abbott. These are the big names that you hear about having these RDT tests, developing solutions for COVID using rapid lateral flow, which, as we say, is that pregnancy-style test. You deposit this biological sample, you wait for a prescribed amount of time. Sometimes that's 8 minutes, sometimes it's 15 minutes, at which point you're going to read that test, you're going to interpret it manually, and you're going to see whether or not you're testing positive or you're testing negative for COVID. Now, controlling for that, when we talk about the differences, one of the things that's accepted about these antigen, these RDT tests, is that there's a bit of a higher error rate on these. Not because there's a problem with the actual manufacturing of the test, but because you're relying on an individual, a minimally trained individual most of the time to conduct these tests, and you're doing a bunch of them all at once. So you're PPE'd right up as a nurse or as a technician. You've got your mask on, you've got your visor on, you've got your gloves on. You're taking biological samples rapidly from as many people as you can, and then you're triaging these tests so that you can interpret them effectively. Obviously, this leads to a bunch of errors. The accepted error rate that you hear quite a bit about is kind of somewhere between 8 and 10%. So you're really talking about 1 in 10 tests that may have an issue with it based on just, as I say, the human error. You don't put enough of a biological sample, you put too little, you forget to do it because you're in a high stress situation, you don't wait the prescribed amount of time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What we do is that we've built a system that actually wraps around these static tests, these RDT tests, and controls for that error rate, controls for that data capture, controls for that compliance and regulatory needs to report to whatever region or jurisdiction or legal requirements you have, is all automated. Our device, which is this one here, you can see this is called the DECI Reader, works on a software AI back end. This device has been developed to allow for rapid diagnostics of any approved RDT test. Doesn't matter which manufacturer makes it, doesn't matter what disease. So the history with this device is it has been deployed in a dozen countries, 4 different continents, tested on about 1 million patients. Ebola, malaria, listeria. If it's an infectious disease that can be tested by use of rapid diagnostic tests, we've done it on our device. Now we're just doing it for COVID, and we've just the perfect application is the airports, which we've just announced last week here in Canada.
Yeah, I want to get to the exciting news as far as the airports are concerned. So 2 things we have to understand here. One, we're eliminating dramatically the error rate on the processing of these tests, and 2, the amount of tests that can be processed at a single time is exponentially increased, which also helps in eliminating the error rate. You mentioned Pearson Airport here in Toronto, the Canadian government getting behind testing as far as Pearson is concerned. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so last week we announced that we have an engagement with the GTAA, and that's to deploy our system at the Pearson Airport, biggest airport in Canada. Of course, international airport. There's about 50 million people per annum before COVID through the international airport, which is we are about 10 minutes away here in Toronto. Our lab is very close by. We announced that effectively we are not only just the device that does the capturing of the rapid diagnostic tests, but actually the system that is collecting a lot of the other data points from PCR testing and other testing that'll be used in the airport. The initial engagement, which has been press released, and you can find it on our website or whichever investment portal you use. You can see as a 90-day series of studies or trials that are backed by the NRC, which is a National Research Council of Canada. funding for a commercial purpose of really scaling our testing solution up at the airport, and then looking to do more than just employees and voluntary flyers. Obviously, the whole race in the business now is to scale these solutions, get out of these proof of principles and showing that they can work in a lab somewhere, and actually show that there's a major commercial value. And I think that's what we're doing with this engagement and the others that are coming.
Clark Kent is president of Relay Medical. Clark, real quick to wrap things up here, everybody wants to get to a post-pandemic world. What does that look like for Relay Medical?
Well, look, fortunately, unfortunately, we're not a silver bullet. There's going to be many solutions that the world is going to deploy over the next few years in order to get us to a post-COVID world. The analogy that we use, which is kind of a bold one, but I think is a very good example, is what happened post 9/11 20 years ago. You have your terrorist attack. You have a change that takes place in how our governments, our citizens, our people view the way that security is conducted, the way that they fly, their rights as far as data is considered. And you'll see 20 years later, this has been built into our infrastructure now. One event triggered a massive change. It's a post 9/11 world. We are living in a post-COVID world. We're living in a COVID world, but a post-COVID world. And this is going to require that we have infrastructures in place for the future, so that when COVID-20, COVID-21, H1N1, other things come into play, and we have other viruses or diseases or illnesses that we're worried about, we have the infrastructure to test, and we as a community or as countries and groups of citizens are not again caught with our pants down, which results in issues in the marketplace and mental health and all these things. We are an infrastructure play. We're not a COVID company. We provide a solution that allows for mass testing, decentralized, outside of lab-based, for any infectious disease that can be done by lateral flow test. And that's a lot of them. And that will be many of the tests or the issues in the future will be the same. And this is really about the infrastructure. And that's what we're doing.
Clark Kent, president of Relay Medical. It's exciting technology and much needed, obviously, at this point as we work towards something that resembles a post-pandemic world. It's been a pleasure. We look forward to an update in the future.
Thank you very much.
There you go, guys. A look at Relay Medical. Interesting test-related, COVID-19 test-related technology, guys.
Brendan, and as you can see at the bottom there, obviously trade on the OTC, but also here in Canada, RELA on the CS there. Actually, pretty good looking daily chart. I mean, I have it up for you guys if you want to see. And if you like 5, 6X from just the beginning of the year, you can look at Relay there. A couple of things now. We only have 2 minutes to go until the open, so I do want to come over to Vacu. We did talk. Look, we have a guest today, so of course we're not going to end up having the lunch money. But I talked about this ramping up. If the volume picks up, going into that break of the opening range top at 930, 1350, there it is. It failed once and then immediately started to come back in. So I did get that 50 long. It did have one stop here in front of like 1390, so I did take some shares out there. When it broke 14. I'm not saying it was an obvious top, but there was some like 100,000 share orders that popped in and around this 1430 mark. I just got the rest out there, so waited patiently for this breakout. But the real thing about this trade and the reason why it gave you this little ramp to the upside, at least in my opinion, we talked about this iceberg-ish order at 13 even, and I was short into that iceberg and said over and over again, guys, got to watch out for this level, only adding if it breaks. Took it off break even, not at the high of the day because that iceberg had held. The stock looked strong because of that reason, and then you do get that top end break. It's actually still making some highs right now, so a VACQ, a nice little winner there to the long side. And with minutes to go, got to get to some earnings here. And Brendan.
Yeah, we have mentioned, guys, many times that we're getting towards the end of earnings reporting season for this quarter, but still some exciting names to talk about on this list for either aftermarket tonight or before the open tomorrow.
What's that name?
Okay, yeah. Zoom. We have Lemonade. We've already talked about Target today with Mark Roberts and his preference of Target versus Walmart. We saw what Walmart's been getting hit. Kohl's. I mean, there's a lot of names. Again, this is just going to be, once again, another good week for us. You see the market rebounding a little bit here. I still say we hold our hat and wait for the number on Friday if you're going to make any long-term plays. But from that one, I think lemonade on a squeeze could be okay.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Get that pun in there while you can. Look, lemonade. Just a huge missed opportunity. When that market flush came in, if you were waiting for pullbacks in some of these names, which seem a little overpriced, I mean, that was an opportunity down at 115, which you never know on earnings. You get these 10% swings. You might do the same opportunity there again. One thing we got to do before we get out of here, you guys know what it is. Let's go to Valeria and, of course, the lovely looking pink hair and see what national day it is.
Hey guys, yes, still with pink hair. Well, I hope you had a positive start of this trading week and thank you for joining us today. Guys, please don't leave without liking our video. We need just 200 likes to reach at least 4,000. Come on, just hit it quickly and all of us will be happy. We will see you tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time and happy National Peanut Butter Lovers Day.
I eat peanut butter every day of my life. It is like my go-to, like post-workout, pre. I don't even care. I love peanut butter. My brother can't stand it. That just meant there was more for me. And you know what? If you know somebody that loves peanut butter as much as me, or just anybody in general, why not grow the community and hit the share, guys? So as much as we only got to 4,000 likes, I shaved my head for you guys. I mean, I don't know. I kind of like it anyways. But Ms. V with the pink hair, to get to that, because we got to 6,000 and we can't even repeat that. So I don't know what we got to do around here. Some fantastic calls. Love that apple long, by the way, there, Sean. And I'm going to assume, I mean, I don't know, my daughter loves peanut butter. The kids love peanut butter in your house?
No, really, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering about that now that I think about it. They don't really have too much peanut butter in our house, but I agree with you, man. It seems like the last couple of days have been a lot of nuts going on the show. It was almond nut day, it was chocolate covered D's nuts days, and then now today it's peanut butter nut day. So I don't know. Brennan, you a peanut butter fan?
Sure, why not? I'll throw another one out there though. Cashew butter is also very good, guys. Or I mean, you said almond, Sean. That one as well. Almond butter as well.
Look, we come to Brennan, and every single time it is the same thing. He takes it to a whole another level. And with that, it is past 11:30. Got to go down the line here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's going to be a good week. We still have more earnings to come through. That big jobs report at the end of the week. It should be a fun one. And NIO after the bell for Ms. V. Looking good with the pink hair. From my man Sean Katina. For Brennan Wickens, I'm Neil Roberts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Trader TV Live. We'll see you tomorrow.
See ya.